Hey, everybody. Happy Friday.
Yeah, boy, is Spock... Okay, yeah, he's in...
You're just in the wrong place.
Damn. But look at all that space you
It's
got
not
on the
the
other
camera.
Side, okay.
I seriously have not moved the camera, I swear to God.
Well, you moved the chair.
Well, yeah, I might have moved
come
the
over
chair.
this way.
I don't want to
Okay,
come
so
over
that goes...
that way.
No, then go over that way. There you go. You moved the chair. That's where...
Well, see, I don't want to go too far over this way because then my knee hits this bookshelf
Okay.
right here. So that's
See-
why I've been trying to like.
See, if you look
Well,
at...
I know that, but
All right.
I can see as well as you can. That's the same
See,
thing
see what
I.
okay.
Well, no, that's the same thing I used to line it up. It's just I don't want to come over too far because a lot of times, like sometimes my knee will hit this and it'll
I'm
knock
trying
shit
to go
over.
this way, and I'm trying to go over this way.
Well, you can move.
Okay. All right.
You know, you got all kind of room back there to like fart around, whatever it is you're doing back there.
All right. It might be that this is in the wrong spot. This might be in the wrong spot.
I don't know what.
Because there's something wrong, man. My control panel.
Your control panel.
Yeah, the captain's chair. It's not fucking...
The control panel. So hey everybody,
Mm-hmm.
Gramthars says, hey, Steve had another baby, or his wife did. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, he has a shit ton of them now. He had them all like in a period of about 6 years.
Well, I only knew about the one because he came to visit us. That was a while back. That
Yeah,
was
he
several
had
years
one by
ago.
then, yeah.
And I think he had one, so we like saw pictures of
Yeah.
it, but I don't even remember.
I think he's got 2 or 3 now. His wife's young. I don't even think his wife's 40. She's in her 30s. I think her wife might be 35 or something. Then I guess he's just gonna have a shit ton of them before he croaks, before he pops his clogs. Fucking,
That's one of my favorite British idioms,
Yeah.
by the way.
it's crazy.
Pops his clogs.
Yeah, he pops his clogs.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
If I had some now, I'd be afraid that I wouldn't live long enough to fucking help them when they got older. By the time they're teenagers, I'd be dead.
Yeah. I mean,
Probably.
you
Unless they cryogenically fucking store me or they fucking inject a whole bunch of nanotechnology in me that fucking rebuild me. I mean, I can only do so much, Hormones only
Thank
do
you
so
for
much.
your service, Tom.
Yeah, I can only do so much. I'm doing what I can do to keep this shit steady for y'all. All right.
Are you, though?
Yeah.
I know. I'm just
Yeah.
Sorry, Pookie's like tearing up the fucking... Now, if you hear like fucking noises, it's been storming off and on all day.
Oh, yeah, we might even lose a connection. It's fucking
I mean,
pouring.
hopefully it doesn't. It stormed really bad earlier. Oh, shit.
I was thinking about going out tonight, but I don't think we'll go out in this storm.
Yeah, this is like kind of shit weather. Well, and the thing about it is we have to go out Sunday night,
Yeah.
and I don't know if I can really afford to go out 2
Okay.
nights in one weekend. Plus, I don't know if my liver can
It's
take
Sunday,
it.
or I thought it was Monday. It's Sunday.
No, it's Sunday night, because Monday is a holiday. It's
Okay.
Memorial Day. So
Okay,
they're
so
doing
you
it
got-
Sunday night. They're doing
All right.
Memento Sunday night instead of Monday night,
All
like
right.
they normally
You
would.
know how to get there, right?
Well,
We'll
the
plot it
GPS
all out.
knows how to get
We'll plot
there.
it all out.
I've
Okay.
been to that street before.
I'm not. I have to see it so I know where it is.
It's John Young Parkway. It's actually kind of like, it's in like a warehouse district.
I don't know where that is.
So, I mean, I think I've been there or around that area before.
So it's
but-
kind of like going to the old place, like what's it? Southern Nights. So like going to that. It's like that.
It's farther than that.
Farther than that. Okay.
Yeah, it's on the other side. It's still downtown, kind of, but it's
Yeah.
like on the other side of downtown.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
No.
Of course you don't. He doesn't know.
No.
Gramthars said Ron Wood. Is that Ron Wood? Ron Wood and Mick Jagger had kids in their 70s. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're still like.
Well, they got millions of dollars too,
That's well,
and they're
yeah.
pickled in formaldehyde. Those two. Fuck.
And they can score like 20 or 30-year-old chicks
Right.
that still have fertile wombs.
Yeah, and the energy to go through all that. Man,
God,
for,
even when I was in my 20s, I was like, I don't think I want to deal with that shit show. No
for
thanks.
guys, you know what I mean? Prime time is fucking around 30. For women, I think prime time is more like about 18, 19. Get it over with early. And
Well, I
then-
don't know about that because then you can't go to college and because my mom had me when she was 18 and I mean she did all right, but a lot of shit gets pushed off until later, so she didn't go back to school until later.
I was just
and
talking
she
about
was just
biology.
well, yeah, but I'm talking about just but
Yeah.
you have to talk about like people's lives too. I mean,
Yeah.
biology isn't all that matters.
Yeah, but neither is college.
No, but
That doesn't.
no, but I'm just
right.
saying that like. That's why I think for a lot of people it's probably not the ideal age because that's really young.
So
I mean, I was still like a kid when I was
college,
18.
And then you get out, and then you get involved in a career, and that shit goes on for fucking 20 or 30 years, and you never have the kids. That's what happens to them, mostly.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I said, I never really wanted any, so it's just kind of like, and a lot of people don't.
Overeducated motherfuckers. If you're educated, it's almost like a death sentence. In terms of when it comes to having children. I mean, the statistics say the more educated you are, the less children you're going to have.
Because you have more of an idea what a fucking headache it is, and you don't want to fucking deal with it.
Well, the money, too, and it's always trying to, upward mobility and having fun, But that was going on even back in the Roman Empire. They complained about it back then that their best people weren't reproducing. So it ended up being a damn idiocracy, just like that movie Idiocracy. The dumb people were fucking having all kinds of children, all the damn German barbarians and shit. And just uncontrollable. And, the rich people were just dying out constantly. Just fucking unstable. It destabilizes a civilization to do that.
But you can't make people want to have babies that don't want to have babies.
True.
So, that's not cool.
True, but you don't want to incentivize not having them. Which that's happening all throughout the fucking Western world, including Russia. People are just saying, fuck it. So they're just selecting the extinction of their culture. Just telling you the truth.
Well, the thing about it is that I don't think anybody's looking at it that way. Everybody's looking at it from an individual viewpoint. Like, this is really not for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly. But, it's the same thing with warfare. For a lot of guys, this is really not for me. But if you're under attack by people that are trying to extinguish your fucking country and your fucking culture or your race, you better fight. It's not about choice. Life is dumb. You know what I mean? What is the meaning of life? There's no real meaning to it. What's the meaning of the life of a cat? There isn't much. It doesn't mean a cat's not cool. It just means that they're there for a round and then they die off. And it's the same with humans. We're going to be here for a while and then we'll vanish.
Are you going down this path again already?
Going down that path already.
He started drinking before the show.
Yeah,
so he's already going down this depressing fucking...
It's not depressing.
Yeah, it is, and it's like, and you went off on this rant before.
It's not depressing.
It's Friday night.
To me, it's normal.
I'm trying to have a good time. It is normal, but it's just kind of like we already covered all that ground, and I really don't have the patience for it right now. Right. So I'm just telling you.
Let's see what everybody's saying.
So I didn't really want to start on that like fucking 5 minutes in. Jesus Christ.
They're talking about the new Top Gun. I don't know. I think waiting to release that Top Gun was probably the best thing. I think. They say that new Top Gun's kicking ass. It's fucking broken records already for a Thursday and a Friday, and audience score is 99%, and the fucking critic score is like 97. They say it's a fucking good movie because there's no CG. It's all fucking real jets doing tricks and shit and fucking. That's good.
I'm just so glad that after, like, I kind of feel like the 2000s and maybe, like, the early 2010s, it was all CGI everything.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it's like, man, we're sick of seeing that shit. So, like, filmmakers started going back toward practical effects. You saw it in horror. You saw it in other things. And I'm like, thank fucking Christ.
Some people have said that this is, like, Tom Cruise's defining movie. That this movie defines.
I mean, it looked
career.
okay from the trailers. We'll see it.
Well, these are the people that saw it.
I mean, there's other things that I want to see because, like, I wasn't really that big a fan of the first film, but I'm sure it's good.
They say it's emotional. It's got men crying and shit in there. The men in the theater crying and shit. So it's supposed to be a good.
It's a movie that makes men cry.
That's what they said. It's a movie that makes men cry.
Why do people get repeatedly punched in the balls or something?
I don't fucking know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know the thing. They just say that it's a real good movie. And with a real good role, which I think is kind of impressive because Top Gun, even though it when it came out, it was a huge hit. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people went to go see it. I remember it as an okay movie, not a fucking great movie, just an okay movie. I remember other Tom Cruise movies being better.
Well, yeah.
But they say this one's fucking great. Everybody loves this movie, so we'll see. Maybe the timing's right, you know what I mean? The lack of CGI and practical effects and real jet stunts and the acting is supposed to be real good, and the story's supposed to be good. So we'll see. I want to see it.
Murder Hornet says, I get a free grave plot through the VA. There's space to put what you want written on it. Mine's going to say, wanna trade places.
Yeah.
They give you only so many letters.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. Danny Rowling says the love scenes between Tom Cruise and Jennifer Connelly were the only unbelievable parts of the film.
Yeah. I don't remember much about the film. I just remember thinking that it was...
No, he's talking about the new one.
Oh, the new one? Okay.
Jennifer Connelly wasn't in the old one.
Oh, okay.
Shit, Jennifer Connelly was only like fucking 16 back then.
Like 16, yeah. Okay, yeah. Now I'm trying to put it... That's a girl from fucking Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's cute.
She's the same age as me, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe like a year or two older. Because I remember her being, like, when Labyrinth came out, I think she was about the same age as me, or maybe just like a year or two older.
A couple years later, she was in The Rocketeer, her and both of her boobs. She was a fucking knockout in that movie. Remember that?
I always thought Jennifer Connelly was so beautiful.
Yeah, and she...
And she still looks fantastic. And like I said, she's probably my age. She's probably 50, 51.
Yeah.
I want to say she still looks really good. Well, she was in Alita Battle Angel, and she looked fucking great in that.
Yeah.
She was in what was that fucking Darren Aronofsky movie? God damn it! Why do I always forget the name of that movie? It's so good. I'll think of it in a second. But she was also in the 80s. She was in Dario Argento movie. She was in Phenomena. She was the girl that could psychically communicate with insects.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Been a long time. I don't think I ever saw that.
You didn't. I
don't think I saw that one.
Donald Pleasance was in it too.
I just remembered in Rocketeer she was stacked. I mean stacked. I was just like, whoa. Fucking
I don't remember.
Every guy I know saw that movie.
I think I only saw The Rocketeer like one time. Like I
liked it.
Oh, that was pretty. Yeah, I liked it, but I didn't really ever feel the need to like watch it again.
They never followed up with a sequel. It was set up for a sequel, and they never did a sequel.
That might be a good one to revisit. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think I've seen it since it came out, or like a year or two after it came out.
I liked The Shadow, even though they fucked it up.
I remember not liking that, but like I said, that was a long time ago.
I didn't like the bad guy. I thought the bad guy was, the Genghis Khan angle to the bad guy didn't come on. Although maybe that was from the source material, but I think they could have come up with something better than that. But the way it looked, I mean, that movie looked great, and the acting was pretty good in it. The story wasn't bad. It was just the villain wasn't good enough, I don't think.
Hugo says Jennifer Connelly is my girlfriend since Labyrinth. No, Jennifer Connelly is my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. I actually really did like Labyrinth. Well, like I said, she was the same age as me, like right around when that came out. Because how old was she? That came out in '86, right?
Yeah, she's probably about 16, 15.
Okay, so maybe 15. She was a year older because 15. I was 14 when Labyrinth came out. I was 14.
She's probably 14 or 15, maybe. Hard to say.
Yeah, she's also in A Beautiful Mind. That's right. I forgot. Yeah, she's been in a fuck ton of stuff. What the fuck is the name of that? Goddamn Darren Aronofsky movie.
Yeah.
The one where she gets the one with the two-sided dildo.
What?
And the refrigerator with and Ellen Burstyn. You never saw it. I'm asking them. I know you didn't see it. What the fuck's the name of it? Oh, why do I forget shit like that? Requiem for a Dream. Thank you. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Requiem for a Dream. Getting old. It blows. Try not to do it. Gramthar went through many bars of soap thinking about Jennifer Connelly while showering. Yeah, I think a lot of people did. Her and Phoebe Cates back in the 80s. I kind of feel like that was...
Phoebe Cates was flat.
I don't know. Like, some people that saw Fast Times at Ridgemont High might disagree.
Yeah, in my opinion, that's flat. I saw her. I was just like, nah. When I went to Korea, all the Katusas, the Korean Army Augmentation United States Army, our Katusa interpreters that were in my unit, in our unit, they were all our age, fucking early 20s. They fucking loved Phoebe Cates. They thought that she was the most famous woman in the United States back in 1991. And I was like, man, she's yesterday's news we talking about. But they were just Korean guys had a fucking thing for Phoebe Cates.
Well, that's okay.
She looked Korean, I guess.
A lot of people had a thing for Phoebe Cates.
I think she kind of looked a little bit Korean, I guess.
But like I said, by the time 1991, because I kind of feel like she was really known for Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because boobs, and also for being in Gremlins.
Yeah.
And I feel like those were, she was in she was in Gremlins too as well. Yeah. She was in lots of other stuff, but I kind of feel like those were like her big roles that like everybody remembered her from.
By the time 91 rolled around, J-Lo was fucking kicking around, so the introduction of fucking booty had kind of hit the mainstream of the straight white male. They were all of a sudden it went from that Coke whore look with the big implants to put some booty on that girl. Fucking black dudes showed us that, and Hispanics. They're like, but I think black people showed Hispanics booty. that was something to watch for. Because before that time, man, fucking white girls didn't have any ass on them. None.
Well, kind of.
Just ask her brother. Ask her brother.
I mean, the prevailing.
They didn't have any ass. They no ass.
The prevailing kind of look
was supposed to be skinny.
I mean, even going back to like the '60s, because you're talking about like Twiggy and stuff like that, like when she came along. So that's even going back to the '60s. Because I feel like the '50s they were a little more buxom.
Yeah.
When you're talking about kind
like
of
a Russ Meyer girls. I mean, they had.
Yeah.
I can understand
There's like some big titties and big asses and thighs and stuff.
That's right.
But I kind of feel like when Twiggy came along, like everyone was, you know, the prevailing like aesthetic was more thin. Although I will say that men's magazines, at least from my, you know, brief perusal of the subject, I kind of feel like men's magazines did have them like a little bit heavier than what you would see like in movies or in fashion magazines and stuff like that. I do kind of feel like women were skinnier in that context. But if you looked in men's magazines like Playboy or Penthouse or Hustler or whatever, they tended to be bigger, like bigger boobed and have bigger butts and stuff.
Green Sparks talking about fucking Jennifer Connelly and Bowie.
Yeah, they were both in the same movie.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like just an explosion of something. I don't know what.
I used to fuck with Jenny fucking hard, man, up in the club. She'd be loaded, and fucking and David Bowie would come on. They'd be playing some David Bowie songs, and then I start talking fucking dirty to Jenny about. I know Jenny wants to see me and Bowie together with Bowie in them damn pants from fucking. As soon as I start talking about the pants from fucking, she's like, yeah, in that wig, and I go, yeah, in that wig, because she
with the balls.
Yeah.
Come on, that'd be great.
I start fucking with her, about that, and she loves that shit.
And then after he died, I'm like, I'm never gonna see that now, unless someone makes a deep fake.
Jenny's fantasy threesome.
Unless someone makes a deep fake.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to do it one of these days. Then you'll be sorry.
Fucking the only deep fake that appeared was fucking Dimitri, my DJ friend from the fucking club. Deep faked a photograph of me and Kanye West making out and posted that up.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
It looked real.
That was a while back. Yeah, he did a good job.
I was like, what? Where did that come from?
When did that happen?
When did
I
that
must have been really drunk one night.
Yeah, I was like, huh?
I don't even remember meeting Kanye.
Yeah. What?
Much less slipping in the tongue.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it.
Photoshop, bitch.
He photoshopped that shit. It fucking looked real.
You've seen some of the shit that I've photoshopped you
Me
in.
and Kanye making out.
You've seen some shit I've photoshopped you in.
Mm-hmm.
It looks real.
It did look real, yeah.
If you know what you're doing.
Yeah, me hanging out with the Go-Go's.
Yeah.
Me hanging out with fucking...
That was my favorite. That was my finest hour.
Me hanging out with Andrew Eldritch from fucking...
You hanging out with Evil Knievel.
Me
as a child.
I was a child.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
No, I think the Go-Go's one is my second favorite. My first favorite was when I put you on the cover of Teen Beat or Tiger Beat.
Yeah, me as a kid, as a teenager,
as a 16-year-old,
with
your feathered hair,
and shit, fucking.
And I put you on. I put you on. It was a real cover.
Yeah.
I can't. Who was it that was on there that I took off? John Stamos or somebody or C. Thomas Howell? I think it was C. Thomas Howell. Was actually on the cover, but I actually took him off and put you on instead. Yeah. And no one could tell. Everyone thought it was real. Yeah. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That was super fun.
Green Sparks sending flames. That's hot. So, Jenny and her fantasy threesome.
Yeah. I said, it's not going to happen now, is it?
No. Wouldn't have happened back then either.
Well, I know. Like there was any possibility that was ever going to happen. I'm just deluding myself, you know. But that's the thing. That's the thing about fantasy stuff. You're not supposed to fucking... It's not supposed to really happen. If it really happened, it'd probably be really disappointing.
Oh, Graham is bringing up Christina Ricci. That's another little short, busty one right here, man.
I always thought she was super cute too.
Yeah,
especially as Wednesday Addams. I was really into her.
She did another movie when she was older, and she had white hair or blonde hair, and she'd gained some weight. She was real curvy, big boobs and shit. It was a little indie flick that she did. And
she was she
looked great. She looked great when she was, I'm gonna say in air quotes, fat. She said she felt fat, but I thought she looked great because she's short. Short girls are kind of supposed to have be curvy, if you ask me. You know, but what's the name of that movie? You know what I'm talking about?
I know what one you're talking about, but I can't think of the name of it right now.
She had blonde hair and she was wearing
I know what you're talking
little baby doll dress.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And little shoes and shit.
Shit, man,
it was a good movie, but I just can't remember.
Yeah, I saw it. I think I saw it in the theater,
and
but
I
I can't remember
exactly what happened. I remember she was at a bowling alley with the dude, and they were doing stuff.
They're asking if it was Buffalo 66. Was it Buffalo 66? Might have been. It might have been.
I think it might have been. Let me see if I can find a photograph of her from that. Buffalo 66?
Yeah. Did I see that in the theater? I might have. Yeah, Gramthars says Ray Liotta passed away. Yeah, I was going to mention that, actually. He said he jogged by Gramthar once in Detroit when he was here filming Youth in Revolt. Huh, isn't that something?
Yeah, it was called Buffalo 66, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that. That was a good movie, I remember. Yeah, Ray Liotta died, and Andy Fletcher from Depeche Mode died, too, I believe.
Yeah, I heard, yeah.
I think Tammy told me.
These, they're getting up there in age, you know what I mean?
True. I mean, you know.
Up there in age, that shit happens.
I still feel like Andy Fletcher. Well, how old was he? He's probably in his 60s, right?
Mm. Yeah, Liotta was probably in his 60s.
No, I'm saying Andy Fletcher from Depeche Mode. How old was he? Yeah. I saw that movie.
Christina looked good when she was like that.
And that is absolutely not fat.
Well, you have to see the... Okay. There's a screen cap. She got some jiggle to her. She was super cute in that movie. She's probably about, what, 25, probably, I think, at that time?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Andy Fletcher was only 60, somebody
60?
said. That's what I thought. I actually would have thought that he'd be a little bit older than that, but I guess not. So shit, man, Andy Fletcher was only 10 years older than me? Fuck.
Well,
because I was like really into Depeche Mode like when I was in high school. I didn't know that they were that
close in age.
Well, it's the
same thing. I was listening to fucking...
That's crazy.
Me and Sophie were talking about Venom, the satanic black metal band. Venom kind of invented black metal. And it's all real satanic, you know, British band. It's all theater, though. It was kind of a creation of the lead singer. His name is went by the stage name Kronos. And I always considered that guy to be like an old guy. He's only 6 years older than me. I mean, he was like 20. He was like 20. He was like 20 years old when I was listening to him. Like 20. You know.
Well, when you're a teenager and you're listening to the music, it doesn't occur to you that the band might be like only 5 or 6 years older than you are.
Yeah.
So then, like later on, when they start like dying off, you're like, "Holy shit!"
So I showed him to Sophie. And she's like, oh, yeah, she's listened to the whole album, and she's like, yeah, this is a good band. It's kind of like Motorhead. Harder, though. And fantastic lyrics, just fucking crazy lyrics. And showed him a picture, and I always remembered them being kind of like these fucking kind of fierce-looking and fierce-sounding fucking crazy British dudes. And I showed the band photo to Sophie, and her response was, God, those guys are hot, and fucking hot bodies on them. I was like, yeah, I guess so. Because I didn't really look at it that way, you know what I mean? Fucking being a guy, it didn't really... Because to me, they just seemed kind of like these fucking crazy-ass Satanists, you know? But she's like, oh, they're fucking hot. It's like, yeah...
I have no idea what they look like, so
I'll show you.
I mean, I'm sure I've seen them, but...
And then I went down that rabbit hole and looked at interviews with them, and they're in their 20s, and they're funny as fuck, real charismatic. They're like nothing like you would imagine that they would be based just on lyrics, you know. And he goes, man, people think that I'm fucking running around killing virgins and shit. What are you talking about? He's like, our albums are like fucking renting or watching The Evil Dead. This is all fantasy. We're not saying this, you know. It was a show.
Well, yeah.
You know?
And the thing is, I think, you know, a lot of bands back then got in trouble, like, especially during the Satanic Panic. It's like, everybody took it. The people that loved it, it's the same with horror movies. The people that love them, it's just fun.
Right, yeah.
And I just kind of feel like people that don't really know anything about it or don't watch them or don't enjoy them, they take it like way too seriously. And they think we take it way too seriously. I'm like, dude, it's just like a good time. It's like riding a roller coaster. It's like, woo, look at his head. Yeah. Look at the blood spraying.
Yeah, for me, I thought it was all kind of fucking real sinister and like underground and subversive and shit at the time. But then it's like, no, when you looking back on it, I was like, oh yeah, of course they're putting on a show.
Yeah.
You know? They're regular people. They were
giving people what they wanted.
Yeah. How could they run a business by being fucking, you know what I mean, crazy ass Satanists? That's him. That's who she's talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just I thought it was really funny because
Hold on, I'm trying to get it to focus. There you. Because they had badass album covers and photographs in the inside of it. They look like a Frank Frazetta painting of a bunch of damn satanic barbarians coming down off a mountain to come kill you. You know. And back in fucking the early 80s, it was like, damn, it was, you know, it was pretty cool. It was, see if I can find that photograph.
John Smith says, trouble is with Venom, dickheads from Norway and Sweden took it too seriously.
Yeah,
started burning churches.
Exactly.
It's like, dude, calm down.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's just trying to have a good time here. We're not about that life.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about it was that I have this book. I think it's still over there, actually. You know that crazy, like, evangelical exorcist / author / satanic expert Bob Larson. He's probably like old. He might not be alive anymore, but his family like do the shit too. He's a lunatic, but he wrote this book called Satanism that was all about what to look out for like if your kid's into Satanism, and it's about as hilarious as that sounds. I didn't pay for the book. Someone stole it and gave it to me, so I didn't give him any money because I was kind of worried about that. But there was like a big long thing in there. He apparently, back in the old days, remember Spin magazine, which was kind of like the edgier, cooler, like Rolling Stone? They did this big long piece where Bob Larson, this like crazy lunatic, like evangelical, right-wing Christian person, went on tour with Slayer. And the hilarious thing to me, like reading that, and he writes about it in his book too, is that he was actually shocked that the members of Slayer were, surprise, regular fucking dudes.
Yeah.
That just, like, hung out on the bus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He still, like, condemned them for being, like, satanic and shit. But he was like, yeah, they just go on the bus and, like, eat fast food and, like, watch horror movies and go to sleep and talk to their wives on the phone and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like a normal person. I was like, yeah imagine that.
That was like 82 or that was like 82 or 83. That shit was fucking cutting edge back in 82. They got a fucking skull with hair on it and all.
Look at the mustache on that one.
Yeah, he's all fucking excellent.
Okay,
shit.
you're way off.
I was just trying to show what was on the table. Yeah, this is the one I was talking about. That's like some shit off of a fucking Frazetta painting and shit. Barbarians coming down the fucking hill. They come and get you.
So cheesy.
Cheesy as shit, but that was 81, you know what I mean?
Which is the thing about it. Like, remember a long time ago when we did that thing where we talked about the Anvil documentary, which we always, like, bring up because I fucking love that. But, I don't know. I kind of feel like you look at it now, and there's really not much of a line between, like, the serious, like, cool shit and the shit that Anvil was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was all pretty cheesy.
It was all pretty cheesy, but there's this fine line. If you do it a certain way, it's cheese. It's pure cheese. And that's what happened with Anvil. I think part of the reason why Anvil was cheese is that they weren't in L.A. You either got to be in L.A. or in England. But really, the metal scene was L.A. Even the British guys were in L.A.
Pretty much, yeah.
So they didn't have the influence. You know what I mean? They weren't they weren't in the scene influencing one another and finding their niche. They were up in Canada.
They were
just watching what was happening from afar, trying to wrap their head around what metal was, and then they're writing and performing it at the same time. And when they run into fucking guys that were famous, they'd dork out. They would dork out and start hero worshiping on other rock stars. Hold on.
Well, the thing about them, like, bless them.
Yeah.
But they all seem like nice dudes. They really do. But they seem to take themselves way too seriously. Like, they didn't really have any sense of humor about themselves. And they just seem too, like, earnest. You know what I mean? And that's not that that's a bad thing. I don't think you should go around, like, acting like you're fucking too cool or edgy for your own good or nothing like that, because that's also annoying. But if you're just like way too earnest and you don't really have any type of like self-reflection or anything like that, that can also come across as like very off-putting. So, you know, there's that. Gramthar only lets his kids listen to Striper. Oh my god. Are Striper even still around? I watched this video on YouTube the other day. It got recommended to me. Can't imagine why. But it was actually made by a guy who I'm assuming is a Christian, and he has like a Christian channel where he talks about like Christian entertainment. But he made a video called "Why is Christian Entertainment So Bad?" And it was actually like pretty insightful to see it from, because obviously like as an atheist or as like our heathen asses, yeah, we know why the shit's bad. But it's nice to see somebody that actually like has the same beliefs and the same kind of like mindset as the people that make that stuff, to actually like point out like what the fuck is the matter with it, and to say, hey, Christians, like make better shit, you know what I mean? Because there is an audience out there for it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So he was kind of like calling out Pure Flix and David R. White and all those kind of people that make those like terrible shitty movies like God's Not Dead and Fireproof and all that kind of crap. But yeah, you know. Let's see. Just saw the 1990s psychological thriller. This is Danny Rolling. Pacific Heights. Oh, I remember that being really good. I think I saw that in the theater, actually. Starring Batman, a.k.a. Michael Keaton. Pretty good, just saying. Yeah, that was the one... Wasn't that the one where he was, like, the neighbor? Like, he lived upstairs or downstairs from, like, that couple, and, like, he started, like, psychologically torturing them? Didn't he, like, put a bunch of roaches in their apartment or something like that? Or was that a different movie? Because I remember, like, in the 90s, there was kind of, like, a mini boom in, like, terrible neighbor or terrible roommate thriller movies. Like, hey, my roommate seems normal, but then, like, it turned out they were a serial killer or something. The Norse Nut says, Tyler Perry is the only person making content that's good that you could maybe call Christian. I do kind of feel like he's... Well, I don't know if a lot of his stuff is good. It's passable. We've seen a couple of his movies. But he's definitely one that's making content that's more widely accessible to people that aren't Christians, because they're entertaining in their own right. I kind of feel like the problem with a lot of Christian entertainment, especially a lot of stuff that turns up on PureFlix, is that they're essentially trying to preach to the choir. Their first thing isn't to make a good film or make an entertaining film. They want to like get a message across, and everything sort of like, you know, falls beneath that particular goal. And if you just do that, then usually your shit's not going to be any good, and I kind of feel like that's what happens.
All right, Holy Parish of Doom said Conrad Lent. His name is Lent. I don't think it's Lant. I think it's Lent. I saw it earlier. He was the guy named Cronan. Yeah, what was funny is Conrad had a way with women. He was funny, and
funny's good.
He was funny and charming. And there's
charming's also good.
Yeah,
as long as you're not like Ted Bundy. Charming.
No, real charming. And there's an interview with him and some rock and roll interviewer chick, and she's kind of starstruck by him, and he's fucking macking on her and hugging on her and throwing her over and rolling her over and wrestling with her. Her feet are up in the air and shit, and she's giggling through the whole thing, and he's playing it for what it's worth, you know, just not at all the way I imagined him as a kid, you know, just... He's obviously, you know, he's definitely a bad boy, and he's about half coked out. But he's having fun, and that girl liked him. And she was, her job was, she was a television TV host that dealt with rock stars, you know. It didn't like a big channel. It was, I think, British. And she loved him.
Gramthars says Striper is playing House of Blues in Orlando tomorrow night.
Oh, shit.
VIP meet and greet tickets are only $100. Well, gosh, we should go. Those bitches must be super old.
Right.
Are they still wearing the outfits?
I fucked Striper.
Are they still wearing the yellow and black stripe? I mean, I admire their adherence to the theme.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, if they're still doing
Holy
that.
Parish of Doom says there's an infamous story about Black Flag opening for Venom and Rollins, and another guy gave Kronos a lot of shit, and Kronos wouldn't stand up to him. Whatever, but it's a funny story. I also heard that Kronos fucking punched fucking Dave Araya. Long time ago. They were in their early 20s. Evidently got into a fight with him and punched him. I don't know if that's true either. Just stories, you know. He was jacked, though, man. Kronos was jacked. He wasn't as big as me, proportionally. Probably taller than me, but for his day, that was pretty big. And then later, when he brought that band back, I looked at him, and he's up there on stage at probably about 40, and he's definitely hitting D-ball. He's fucking big. Looked like a damn bear. Retaining a lot of water. Got D-ball face. So he hits the sauce. Somebody said they just came back and says that who is it? Somebody's been gone for a while because we've sided with somebody from what was it?
The West Memphis 3.
Yeah, the West Memphis 3. Pookie brought him back. And that my arms are huge now. There he is, the Norse nut. He says, I've been gone since
how long
y'all
ago was
sided.
that? That was a while back.
I don't remember when that was. Because damn, Tom, your arms are huge now. Yeah, I don't know when that was, but no, I've been working on arms.
I mean, it was a while ago.
They're going to get bigger. I'm focusing on arms, V-taper.
Soon he's going to be all arms. You won't be able to see his head or his legs or anything.
Arms and V-taper. So a lot of weighted sit-ups, a lot of deadlifts. Try to get the damn waist down skinnier. Of course, right chemistry, too, will help that.
Holy Parish of Doom says there's a YouTube channel where they discuss theology and Catholicism, and they made a channel about Black Sabbath being the best metal Christian band. Or they made a video about it. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of metal bands have, like, Christian themes in their work. It's just kind of like, we were saying before about movies. You could argue that The Exorcist is a Christian horror movie because the Christians are like the good guys and they actually end up winning and like defeating, but it's not really meant to push an agenda, and it's still an entertaining movie on its own. Even if you don't believe any of the shit, it's still like a masterpiece.
Thank you, Ian England. He says, "Thank you, Ian. Arm day every day." No, not every day. You got to have recovery days. You got to have days for growth. I actually only work a body part twice a week. Each body part twice a week. 7 sets of 15, and 15 is failure. And them last few sets, you're not going to make 15, maybe fucking 11. And just do that twice a week. Give yourself time to grow back and heal up. But preacher pad. I think doing arm curls on a preacher pad, I think I'm using, I had to look at what it is right now. Hold on, let me see. I forgot how much it weighed.
Yeah, Gramthars said a bunch of metal guys are Christian. Ozzy, Alice Cooper, Half a Corn. Yeah, a lot of them are, and I think that would like maybe surprise some people because people don't really think about associating those two things, but they're actually not mutually exclusive at all.
140 pounds. Sets of 15. 6, and then 6. Twice a week. But no, none of that Satanism makes any fucking sense unless you're a Christian.
Well, yeah, because if you don't believe in God, you don't believe in Satan either.
Nope.
It's kind of like part of the total package.
Yep.
Which I don't believe in either thing. So to me, it's just all like entertainment.
Just ask Danzig. All right. That's why it's hard being a Satanist in a world full of atheists. It no longer makes sense when atheists take over. You know, you're just going to be picking up cat litter, buying cat litter your whole.
Hey, somebody gonna buy cat litter?
Yeah. Problem with Danzig is that Danzig took this shit seriously.
Well, that's what I mean. It's just kind of like if he had just laughed it off, said, "Hey, my kitty's got to poop somewhere," because he's a cat dad. We love that.
No, I think he kind of took LaVeyan Satanism seriously.
Well, see, that's your problem.
You know,
we've talked about the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Glenn Danzig. That's the problem with Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
That's you have to have a sense of humor about yourself, especially if you're in an inherently ridiculous kind of line of work. Like especially if you're kind of like, hey, I'm in movies where I play like a magical martial artist, or I make music that's all about like the devil and shit like that. Own the ridiculousness. You can't like take yourself too seriously, or everyone's just gonna like just clown on you. That's just what's gonna happen.
No, 16-inch peaks. Yeah, okay. Ian, he says, I love buys and tries. I'm 5'7" and rock 16-inch peaks. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I haven't measured recently. Probably I don't know. I don't know how big they are anymore. I don't have a pump on. I got a tape. It might be 16. Might be 16.
Holy Parish of Doom also says Catholic priests love the popularity of The Exorcist. I think they did. I mean, it really made Catholic priests look like fucking heroes.
Yeah.
They were the heroes of the movie. And they were, but it's like, it wasn't obnoxious. I mean, it just made sense in the context of the movie, you know what I mean? I never saw it as like a particularly religious movie, but I guess you could see it that way, because they're the heroes. I just thought, you know, in the context of the movie, she's possessed by the devil, so, you know, you call the priest up, and he fixes everything. That's just what you do. I don't believe any of this shit's real, but I don't believe demon possession's real either. So, you know, it's just a movie.
Demon possession, I think, is just poltergeist.
Norsenut says, oh yeah, those movies about the Christian couple that investigates hauntings are Christian themed. I don't remember what they're called. Are you talking about like the Conjuring movies?
You're talking about Ed and Lorraine.
The ones that are based on Ed and Lorraine Warren?
Right.
Yeah, I guess you could say. Like, really any kind of demon possession movie where, you know, the devil is posited as real, and like the Christian priest or Catholic priest or whatever like come in to defeat it, then yeah, you could argue that was Christian themed. But like I said, that doesn't matter to me as much as just make a good fucking movie. I don't give a shit like what your agenda is.
John
if it's a good
Smith
fucking
says,
movie.
I met Seagal once, went to a concert of his band, and he was greatly amused by my Flock of Seagulls shirt. I have that t-shirt.
Yeah, I got him that for Christmas.
People laugh when I wear that shit.
It's a good shirt. I mean, I don't know if like Seagal had to like give his permission for that.
Probably not. It's a bootleg.
it.
I mean, it's a bootleg.
Yeah, I don't even remember where I got it from. I just bought it off like Amazon.
He probably
or
like
eBay
that
or something.
Yeah, I like that t-shirt. I imagine you get a lot of punani wearing that.
That's probably what he said.
Yeah, that's what he'd say.
And then he grabs your titties.
Yeah, because that's what I would say if I was Seagal. It's a fantastic shirt. I bet you get a lot of punani wearing that. Of course, because I'm on it. Of course. That's what you're going to say. Yeah. That's a good photo of me.
Before he weighed 500 pounds. But, yeah. My favorite thing, well, my least favorite thing about Seagal, which turns around and becomes my favorite thing again, is the fact that he used to say that he could, like, tell if you had breast cancer. Like, he would like, try and, like, can I test you for breast cancer?
Yeah.
I was just kind of like...
He said he would give you he was a master of shiatsu. And he could find lumps in your breast. I don't know. Okay. I don't know how...
look.
Did he really... Was he joking or was he serious? I don't know.
I have no idea.
No,
but I'm just kind of like, dude, like, don't use lines like that. Come on. How fucking stupid do you think chicks are?
Well, he might have been joking around. But I gotta say something, because fucking Bee's Nest was saying, didn't Danzig throw bricks at somebody? No. What that was is that at his neighbor. Okay, no, that's not what happened. What happened is that Danzig's neighbors were complaining that he had a whole stack of bricks out in front of his yard. And if you see his house, it's a Southern California house like I grew up in when I was a kid back in the 70s. But those houses are old and junky looking now. Look like something you'd find down in Long Beach at Carson. All right. It's those kind of houses. They were built, I think, mostly in the 50s. And his house he doesn't live there anymore. He moved. That house was fucking junky. All right. A black house. Of course. All right. And out in front of it, he had a brick wall that went around it with fucking wrought iron gates. And he had a stack of bricks out there that must have been about 5 feet tall. It was a cube of 5 by 5 feet by maybe 8 feet by 3 feet. You know, a stack of fucking bricks. And it was there for years and years and years. And his neighbors, at least one of his neighbors, started to complain.
Like, what are you going to do with those bricks,
move those fucking
Steve?
bricks. Get rid of those bricks. And they were... Evidently, they filed something with the city and tried to get him to fucking get rid of those bricks. They were on his property, and they were behind the wall, but people got sick of seeing them. And evidently, what Glenn did is instead of getting rid of the bricks, he moved the stack of bricks. That's it. He just moved the stack of bricks. But you can still see them. That's the story I heard.
That seems a little petty.
Yeah, he just moved them. But you can still see them.
I mean, it'd be one thing if he's like, oh, they're an eyesore. I'll put them inside or in the garage or something like that.
Or out back or something.
Or out back so people can't see them.
Right. No, he's
like, no, I'm just going to move them over. Like I said, how long did that take him to do that? Seems like very, very petty.
I don't know.
Very petty.
Probably did that shit at night, too. While he's singing. Singing shit off of fucking Danzig 2. Lucifuge.
I just had like a really funny fucking mental image of his like big old fat ass outside like in his side yard like by the garbage cans and stuff like moving the bricks over like one by one, very very slowly.
He fucked himself up. He did a few cycles and fucking looked good for a while. And didn't back in those days they didn't really quite know what they were doing. They didn't know how to come off of something and keep his fucking natural testosterone fucking pumping. Once you go on cycle, your fucking hormones are going to be shot until you get that shit right. You're going to be on HCG for about 6 months. But they didn't know that back then. They just thought, well, you go on, you do some steroids. When you come off, you get fat. That's just how it goes. No, it's not how it goes. There's a way to keep that from happening. When you look at him, he's on tour. He can't fucking work out constantly. You know what I mean? And I think he just kind of had the wrong approach with whatever it was he took. Probably Dianabol. Probably. And no HRT. Fucking, I bet you that motherfucker did not have a testosterone base. Was not rocking any kind of fucking pituitary stimulants. He just did some cheap ass fucking D-ball. Shot up. Fucking got big quick. Took some pictures for Lucifuge too. It lasted him. He probably went on a couple times later for 3. But then a few years later, man, his head was fucking huge. Which made me think that maybe he came off of steroids and went on fucking HGH, human growth hormone. Because they thought that was better for you back then. It's not. That fucks you up, makes your fucking lips big, and it makes fucking weird parts of you fucking grow. You can do it. You could do HGH, but you have to fucking know exactly what you're doing. You got to run it with a whole bunch of other stuff. And then once you get on a stack like that, you're going to be like that for the rest of your life. You can't ever come off of that. Okay, and it's just going to change you forever. It's doing that shit is kind of like these Instagram girls with all that damn boob greed that they'll put fucking implants in themselves where they're fucking as big as a fucking beach ball, gigantic implants. That's what you're embarking on if you're going to start fucking with that stuff to the level of what we're talking about that Danzig did. You got to get on. You got to stay on. He didn't really get that big. I think I'm probably bigger than him now. But you have to maintain that shit constantly, and you have to, which means you got to get it in the gym. And hard to live a rock star's life on the road and keep up with all that shit. I believe only the Rock can afford to travel with a whole gym. Wherever the Rock goes, a fucking $1 million gym follows him in a damn tent with air conditioning and everything. So, he had the wrong approach. He got involved in that shit not knowing what he was doing. When you look at fucking Glenn Danzig later shots of him or videos of him, the shape of his head his head is big. It's real fleshy. You haven't seen him? Like a big square.
No, I haven't looked at him lately. Where would I?
I didn't know if you see him later. Something happened to him. He looked like a devil. Looks like a demon.
John Smith answered your question from a long time ago, as about Steven Seagal asking you about your shirt. He said no, he just laughed and asked me where I got it.
Yeah.
He did kind of hit on my trans friend. Make of that what you will. So, I kind of feel like he'll hit on anybody.
Probably didn't know that was
trans. With a pulse.
Probably didn't know that was trans.
He'll hit on anybody with a pulse.
He probably didn't know that girl was trans.
John Smith also said, my other great celebrity encounter was with William Shatner.
Oh, yeah.
If you want him to talk to you, talk about T.J. Hooker. He'll talk all day about that.
You like that show, huh?
Well, I kind of feel like probably, because most people know him as Captain Kirk or from his... So I kind of feel like maybe less people ask him about that, fewer people ask him about that.
Yeah.
And so he's probably like always really excited...
To talk about T.J. Hooker.
To talk about that, because that's probably like a question he doesn't get.
I remember that show as a kid. I watched it. I watched some of the episodes.
I don't think I ever watched it. I vaguely... Wasn't Heather Locklear on that? Was Heather Locklear on that?
I don't remember. It was a cop show.
Yeah, I know. But am I remembering that wrong?
I remember kind of being disappointed that it wasn't about fucking Star Trek. But I also think...
this isn't space. What the fuck's going on? He's just a cop. Lynn.
Yeah. It was kind of a response to, I don't know, Knight Rider or fucking Chips. It was like that.
Well, yeah, there was like a lot of cop and like
programs.
detective kind of shows going on back then.
But I remembered it being Oh, good for the time. Good for the time. But, you know what I mean? I was a kid. TJ Hooker's not going to keep me watching. You know, it just isn't. Knight Rider couldn't keep me watching.
I think I saw more episodes of Knight Rider than I did of TJ Hooker. Although I didn't watch it, like, regularly. But I was just like, oh, talking car, all right. DJ Maniac says, A Starry Night has a show by you tonight. This going to be a quick show. Where are they playing? Because I don't remember hearing about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that.
How close are they, I wonder?
Probably not near us.
Maybe they're in Tampa.
Yeah.
That's kind of far.
That's far for us. About an hour and something, and then the drive back when you're fucking drunk is a fucking nightmare.
Gramthars says, TJ Hooker was fake as fuck. Shatner would throw his baton at bad guys when they were running away. It never happens in real life.
It's been a long time.
It's just like in movies. I love the trope in movies where somebody has a gun and they shoot at the person and then they miss and they're just like, fuck it, and then they throw the gun. That always makes me laugh every single time it happens. I don't know why. Adriana says, Tom, who is your favorite muscular action hero besides The Rock?
Favorite muscular action? Well, there's a bunch of them.
What about there's Jason Momoa?
No.
You don't like Jason Momoa?
He's all right. No, you got to go back to the classics, which would be fucking Arnold and fucking Sylvester Stallone. The newer ones, Jason Statham, pretty good.
West Palm Beach. Yeah, that's far.
That's far. Yeah.
That's like 4 or 5 hours from here. That's why.
Well, that's Adriana asking that.
Yeah, I said that.
Okay.
Charles Bronson.
Yeah. Another thing is that you have to consider what era it is. Like Charles Bronson, back in the day, back in the 60s and the 70s, was fucking pretty big. Especially for his time, you know? Or muscular. He wasn't a big guy. He was, I think, average height. I wouldn't surprise me if he's only fucking 5'7", 5'8", actually. But because you see him when he got older, he looks small next to people. In those old Cannon films, before they really cared about shot angles and shit, he didn't look that big. He looks like a short guy to me. But, no, fucking, some of that shit that he did, like fucking Red Sun, Westerns, his build was similar to mine, actually. I think he had a skinnier waist, but similar to mine.
TJ Maniac says, Shatner ran so Seagal could hire a stunt double to walk.
You want a drink?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just never going to stop picking on Steven Seagal about that. Like I said, he's done... Honestly, the next movie that he does, the next 10 movies that he does, because he does like a shit ton that go like direct to Blu-ray or whatever, or DVD, or streaming, or whatever. I kind of feel like the next one is just going to be like he's going to hire a stunt double to sit. You know what I mean? Or they're just going to like show his face, or they're just going to put a picture of him in the movie, and then the movie's going to be about like totally different shit. You know what I mean? I kind of feel like they'll just have like a portrait of him, and he'll like be there. Steven Seagal is starring in this, and he's like in every shot, but he's just like in a picture. And then there's like other people doing other shit that don't have anything to do with Steven Seagal. That would be fucking hilarious. Actually, I kind of want to make that movie. Would I get sued? Probably. But that would be like super funny. Oh, my phone's ringing. The Rock is an underrated actor, says John Smith. Yeah, I agree. Think about it. Could you imagine Laurence Olivier fist bumping a giant gorilla? I mean, The Rock, I mean, yeah, he's no fucking, he's not like an award-winning actor or anything like that, but he's always like really likable and really like natural in his roles. I think that's like its own talent in itself, so there's that. And let's see, what else? I wanted to say the reason I called this show Endless Eggplants was because you guys, we planted stuff out back, right? We planted, I don't even remember what all we planted back there. Eggplants, tomatoes, blah, blah, blah. We have so many eggplants already. We've lived here, 5 or 6 months? Something like that. 6 months, 7 months, something like that. We have so many fucking eggplants that we don't know what to do with them all. Tom had to, pick the ones, and there's still some like out on the vine still. But he had to pick some, and he's like, well, we have to use these or because they're going to go bad. Look at all these fucking eggplants. I can't believe it. And so he had to make like this big, huge thing of like baba ganoush. So that's what we had like for lunch today. Like big piles of that. And all the eggplants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the eggplants came in. A bunch of them. They were fucking great.
Holy fucking shit, man. Did you forget my drink or what?
Yeah. Because I had to stop and go to the restroom.
He can't remember two things at the same time. It's like, oh my god, it's a list of two. I can't remember. But yeah, so...
No, I remembered it. I just put it down. I forgot to pick it up on the way back in.
Why did my phone keep ringing?
Because they're calling you. They love you.
Nobody loves me. It's fucking...
Yeah.
It's fucking... It's... bill collectors is what it is. They love me, I guess. Yeah, I was going to say, John Smith, that... Actually, that occurred to me earlier, like, when I called it that. I was like, British people don't know what eggplants are. I'm sure they know what eggplants are, but they call them aubergines. So, I know that. Endless aubergines. You know, so if you're British, aubergines. We just planted them, and there are so many. I don't understand, like, how they grew so quickly. There are like so many of them, and there are like so many that like we don't know what to do with all of them. Because the first thing Tom said last night is like, oh my god, we have so many fucking eggplants. I don't know what we're gonna do with all of these that they all like grew already, and they all came in at the same time. And I was like, well, baba ganoush, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make baba ganoush, but he's like, we have like all these other, I don't know what we're gonna do with them. So we made like this big thing of baba ganoush. So we ate a bunch of that, and then like he's still got like 2 big containers of it, and also the tomatoes. We have a fuck ton of those as well. We've been eating tomatoes like we've been putting them on sandwiches and everything. And then we still have a fuck ton, and they're gonna go bad. So Tom's like, he just made this gigantic pot of like tomato sauce because like otherwise they're just gonna fucking rot. We have so many.
Yeah, so I had to make a bunch and the tomato sauce is really good. You didn't try it.
Well, you gave me a spoonful earlier.
That was earlier. Before
it had kind of like mellowed.
I reduced it down. It never turned dark red like something you made with tomato paste or anything. It's orangish, which because I guess there's maybe in that tomato paste there's artificial colors. Gotta be, because it's just kind of an orange, but it's good. But I put a cup of Parmesan cheese in it, and if I had wine, I'd put that in there, but I don't have any.
Man,
it's good.
Eat some of that.
It's gonna be a good. I'll probably cook it. I have it resting. I'll go back. It's covered, resting. I'll go in there and check it later. If it's still a little too soupy and once it's cold, I'll reduce a little bit more to make pizza sauce out of it. And then you can add water to make, you know what I mean? If you want spaghetti sauce, you can use that also. Because I have all that raw hamburger, see?
Yeah,
so that made good bolognese.
And we've been like making, because we've been trying to get rid of it. So it's like, we made burgers.
Making burgers sometimes.
Last night, like we had a burger for lunch yesterday, and then he's like, "Well, I have all this beef. It's like I'm sick of burgers, so let's make tacos. We made beef tacos for dinner, and then we still have like
still got a bunch of it. We still got about that much of it. That big roll, and that might make good bolognese sauce.
Yeah, that sounds good actually. Yeah. Gramthars has some rando questions. Oh boy, I love these.
Hold on, let's see what everybody's saying. Yeah.
Number 1, any regrettable one-night stands back in the day?
Gramthars?
Yes, I can think of one. I don't want to like dox anybody.
Yeah, that's a problem, man, cuz then
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did have one.
He's trying to get me to fucking out some of the girls that we went to high school with.
Yeah, I don't really want to say like who it was. It wasn't that long ago. It was probably only like 12.
Because they're still out there and they're still on
12
Facebook.
or 13 years ago. Yeah, so I don't want to say who it is because some people that we know might know who it is.
Right.
And I don't really want to
that shit go through the
person.
grapevine.
And I don't want to out that
social
person.
media, you know.
It wasn't a terrible experience. It was just I was dumb and I was like in a bad mood and I was kind of like drunk and went home with somebody I probably shouldn't have. Yeah. Like under different circumstances I wouldn't have. But you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm not gonna say who it is though. But yes, I do have that. But that's kind of like I think that's kind of the only one, because honestly, the only other times I've done that, like just like met somebody at a club and it was like okay, and like did that, like actually ended up kind of dating that guy for like a month or so. So it wasn't like just a one night stand. Like it's it was more than once. But this one time, that was the only time that it was like really one, and I was like, holy crap, why the fuck did I even do that? Like even like the next morning, I was like, oh my god, I don't even want to talk about this.
Yeah, I didn't realize Maniac was in there, bro. How long you been in there, Maniac?
Well, he said he had to go because he's going to a party.
Now. Okay, yeah.
I don't know if he's gone now.
Somebody was asking about...
Yeah, I've got to get another party to head out to in about an hour. This is the fourth one this week. Yeah, you were saying earlier that you'd had... And he told me earlier, he messaged me and said, because we were talking about Guar.
Yeah.
On, the last show. And he was saying that he knew, like, most of the members of Guar. Yeah. He's like, pretty much there's only one original member. But he's, like, under a different name now.
Yeah,
He's playing a different character.
Hornet's saying, I heard Stallone was short. Yeah. Yeah, he's a little bit taller than me, but he's
nothing wrong with that.
No, this is what he's a bantamweight.
I'm short too.
Yeah, that's one of the good things. If you want to put on size and shape, being short is a fucking huge advantage because everybody loses fat and gains muscle at the same rate, pretty much, no matter how tall you are. So it takes a lot longer for a taller skeleton to fill out. Once a taller skeleton's filled out, it looks good. Okay. You got to go back to the classics, all right? And that would be Arnold Schwarzenegger and his fucking buddy. What's his buddy from Sardinia? Oh shit. Franco Columbo. Okay. Arnold was 6-something. Franco was shorter than me. I think he was 5'4". And Franco's he's in Conan 1. He plays the scout that looks and sees the village before the fucking horses come and kill everybody. They had him with a red wig on. But you can just look up Franco Columbo and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger standing next to each other and look for the fucking photos when they were in their prime. They both look fucking great, all right? Franco's physique would take less time to fill out. And he was stronger. Franco was stronger than Arnold. Arnold will tell you that. Especially in strongman competition. Franco could pick up a fucking old school 70s refrigerator and run with it and do all kinds of stuff. And there's all kinds of interviews with Arnold talking about how Franco was subhuman. He was like a monkey. He could hang by his feet. He could do all this. And it's because it's all that muscle on a short skeleton allows for a lot of leverage. It takes a long time for a tall guy to catch up with a short guy. Eventually, when that tall guy is fully stacked, he will be stronger at certain events. Like bench press. Bench press, for a tall guy, he's got to extend his arms. If he's got long arms, that's a lot longer distance than a short guy. With me, that's what? Fucking 20 inches, maybe? So there's less energy for me to bench press something. Tall guy's got to bench. He's got to move it a lot further, and the leverage isn't the same. It's a long skeleton, so it takes a long time for them to build up a bunch of muscle on it. But once a tall guy is fucking totally stacked, yeah, he gets very strong. But there's going to be, once each frame is maxed out, a short guy's going to have certain strengths and weaknesses, and a tall guy's going to have certain strengths and weaknesses, and they're different. But there have been whole debates on that, whole videos made between bodybuilders of what's better. But when it comes to just competition on stage, if you factor in time, how long it takes to build it, short guys have an advantage. They fill out faster.
Gramthars also has another question. How is the best way to eat for $5 a day? I was like watching a bunch of these types of videos where people were eating for $5 a day, or they would go and buy like a week's worth of groceries, like 3 meals a day for however much. And it worked out to like $5 a day or $1 a meal or whatever. Usually what they would get, they eat a lot of Mexican style food. Rice and beans was a big thing that they would, because you can get a lot of that for like not very much. Eggs, a lot of that kind of stuff. Getting stuff like flour, because you can make your own bread and you can make your own noodles and you can make your own, like, with not very much stuff. But I kind of feel like mostly, and you can get like a whole bunch of like tortillas for not that much money too. So a lot of what they would do was they would make Mexican style food, like with beans and rice, or they would make like breakfast burritos or something like that, and it ended up like being like super cheap.
Okay.
Murder Hornet says, "Ew, eggplant."
Oh,
No, it's good.
I don't know what to do with it.
I didn't used to like eggplant, but
Yeah.
if you cook it right, it's actually like really good.
It's good for certain dishes. John Smith says The Rock is an underrated actor. Think about it. Could you imagine Lawrence Oliver fist bumping Laurence Olivier?
Yeah, I already read that.
Okay, yeah. The Rock he's a good actor, real good. I think the best work I think is that he did was in Pain and Gain. He did a real good job in Pain and Gain because he played against character type, and he did a good job. He played a fucking Bible thumper in a comedic way, a muscle builder Bible thumper. He did a real good job in it.
Well, and he played him like funny, but not like making fun of him.
No, he played it straight.
It was comedic, but
he was playing it straight though.
He wasn't like making fun of the character.
Yeah. Adriana said Bronson had Russian descent, didn't he? No, he was Lithuanian. The Russian guy you're thinking about, I think, is Yul Brynner. Yul Brynner was part Mongolian, which, and I think that might have been from. I think his family might have been Russian, but racially, I think he was part Mongolian, if I remember. But no, Lithuania is where, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure. Did it sound right?
I think
Bronson was Lithuanian.
So. I mean, you know, it's,
yeah,
I don't know. You could
right. I think it was.
But...
Yeah.
Tammy's asking us to help her name her new puppy. He's black and white with a little brown. He's a mutt, probably part beagle and part something else.
Hornet said Bronson's wife was a cutie and know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, the wife back in the 60s.
Jill Ireland.
Jill Ireland. Yes.
Well, they were married a long time. They were in a bunch of movies together, like later on too.
Yeah.
She died of cancer, like before. He died.
Back in the 60s, man, in the 70s, when they were both fucking at their peak, they looked fucking great together.
Danny Rolling said, "I heard Stallone used a stunt cock in his infamous adult film."
Yeah, he did. He's got a porn movie out there. It's called Italian Stallion.
Italian Stallion.
Yeah. He's not jacked then, though. He didn't get jacked till later.
But he probably just said that because it wasn't very big.
No, if I remember correctly.
I haven't seen it. So I mean, I've seen like clips from it, but I've never seen like any of the money shots.
No, there's not. I don't. There's been nothing negative coming out of that movie. I don't remember anything unusual, but I haven't seen that in a long time. No, I think he was pretty well endowed, if I remember correctly.
Although maybe it would be good to like cover your bases, like either way. I said, "Oh, that's not my dick." You know what I mean? Because he's famous now. So I did either way.
No, he admitted to it. That it was
like whether it was too small or whether it was big or whatever, it's probably like better to stay in like, no, that wasn't me.
No, he admitted
now that you're famous. But...
He admitted to that was him.
No, everybody knows it's him. They're talking about whether it's his dick or not.
It's obviously his dick, from what I remember correctly.
But like I said, I haven't seen that movie. Like I haven't seen the whole thing. Why would I sit through the whole thing? You know what I mean? I've seen like little like stills from it and like clips from it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
It's just a regular 70s porn movie.
Yeah.
There's nothing really unusual about it. And I don't remember anything unusual about him in a negative way. Like, remember, we kind of watched that as a gag back in the 80s, knowing that it was him. I don't really remember much about it, but, you know.
Lars Ulrich says, David Prowse, Darth Vader, had a really impressive physique. Yeah, he was a big fucking dude. And Murder Hornet said, wasn't he in Clockwork Orange? Yes, he was.
He's the muscle man.
He was like the houseboy guy that was like the bodyguard for the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah, that was him. He was in other movies too. Like and I kind of feel like maybe people don't recognize him because he wasn't in costume, you know, when he was just him. But yeah, he's been in a lot of movies. Yeah, he's a big dude. Yeah, that's right. Because that was like, it wasn't called Italian Stallion at first, was it? Yeah, DJ Maniac said no. Italian Stallion was the re-release title after he got popular with Rocky. Original title was Party at Kitty and Studs. Yeah. Why do I know that? You know, I ask myself that question every single goddamn day.
That's Charlie and Jill Ireland back in the day. I mean, that's a great couple. Great couple. Look at her midriff. She's got the fucking midriff and the little fucking 70s, 60s sandals. Hippie stuff, I guess. Would you say it's 60s or 70s?
I have no idea. Good job. What are you doing?
Moving you out of the way so I can get it.
You dropping shit all over my feet?
I'm trying to remember trying to see what year that was. That's got to be 60s.
Hugo says, I know Doom is not a great movie, but The Rock was good in it. He plays a bad guy. Yeah. I didn't realize he was in that. They made a movie out of Doom, like the video game?
Yeah, it was terrible. But they said The Rock was good in it. Yeah.
Most movies made from video games are terrible.
Yeah. If it's about a movie,
you would think that they would have learned by now, but they never do.
No.
I think the only one that
little
was...
kids come and go to see it.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good question. What is like a video game movie that was actually decent?
None.
I'm drawing a blank.
Sonic. Sonic the Hedgehog, remember?
That was
good.
I don't know. Yeah, it was okay.
I like Sonic.
Silent Hill was okay. The Silent Hill. But the thing about it is that Silent Hill, the game, was already like kind of creepy and already like a horror movie. So it lent itself more. If you take a video game like Doom, which is just essentially like a first-person shooter with no plot or anything really, although it might have developed a plot later on, I don't really know.
Mediac says she has hips. Hips didn't exist on women in the 70s because cocaine. Yeah, right. I think that might have been from the 60s, that picture. Late 60s, probably.
But I'm sure there's got to be more than that. They were based on video games that were good. And I'm not talking about, like, So Bad It's Good. Oh, speaking of which, So Bad It's Good, you guys. If any of you guys are, like, into MST or RiffTrax or anything like that, RiffTrax, they have their own YouTube channel, obviously. And they will post shorts. They will post, like, free movies and stuff like that with the riffs on them. And the one that they just posted... yesterday or the day before. I just watched it last night. Holy shit. I didn't even know this movie existed. I don't know what year it's from. It's called To Catch a Yeti, and Meatloaf is in it.
Yeah.
And the conceit of the film is that Meatloaf is like a Yeti hunter or some kind of unusual, like a cryptozoologist hunter or something like that. The conceit of the film is that a Yeti isn't actually like a big, huge, like scary, abominable snowman type of thing, but an adorable Mac and Me type of like animatronic creature that's very small but has just big ass feet. And then there's like a cute kid becomes involved. It's just like, what a shit show. But where do they find this shit, man?
I don't know, man.
Where do they find this shit?
There are movies that are made that should have never been made, and they've just kind of surfaced, and you look at it, you know, like that dude.
It seems like it's like going into like a sewer pit. It's like you feel like, oh, okay, here's like the first 7 layers of shit, and you think you've got to the bottom. There's no bottom. You just keep going down, and it's like there's just worse and worse movies. You keep like coming up with new ones.
Now there's a bottom. I know the bottom. If you get so bad that it's no longer a movie and it's unwatchable, those don't count. It has to be a movie when it's done, and it is something that has dialogue and a story, and you know what I mean. And it was shot. Okay, it had actors in it. Okay,
we pointed a camera at some shit,
right?
and
and here it is. We've
things ensued.
The worst movies are that dude who he is always starring in every one of them, and he's some genius from another planet constantly. What's that dude's name?
Oh, right.
That guy.
Hold on. Shitcase Cinema has done like a lot of this. What's that dude's name?
He funds his own movies, directs them, writes them.
Neil Breen.
Breen?
Breen. With a B.
Right. Neil Breen.
Yeah.
The worst. That is the rock bottom.
Those are cringe.
Rock bottom.
Holy shit, they're cringe.
I almost wanted to collect them all. That's how bad they were.
Don't do that. I mean, unless you like steal them off the back of a truck. Don't pay for them.
I actually wanted.
Don't give that dude any money. Don't encourage him.
Like on CD.
Don't encourage him.
All the Neil Breen shit. That's how bad they are. They're terrible.
Don't encourage him.
Terrible. And each one, he's always the star in every one of them.
And he always has like super magical powers.
Like
he's some magical guru.
Yeah, he can always more intelligent than everybody else. He's solving the world's problems. He's from another planet. He's more advanced. He can do everything on a computer. He's got spiritual powers. It's just everything. He's always like an alien or a genetically engineered.
You can kind of like glean a lot from about his psychology, like from the movies that he makes.
And there's always some girl who's like in her 20s who's is the hottest girl he could get to star in the movie. She's in it, and she constantly follows him around and is impressed by everything that he does. and she loves it.
Dudes like that, I kind of feel like that's their ultimate fantasy.
That's the movie.
They want a hot girl that will just not have any like life or personality of her own.
You are so awesome.
She's just hot, but she'll just like follow him around.
You are so awesome.
Everything you do is just like, oh my god, everything you do makes me wet. It's like everything.
Yeah. That's the movie.
That's like that type of dude's fantasy.
You are saving the world. You're so superior to normal human beings.
You're so awesome. You're so much better than You're so much better than me.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything you do is awesome. I have no thoughts of my own or life of my own.
Yeah.
It's only you. My whole life revolves around you.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like dudes like that have that fantasy.
Go ahead,
they
Google that shit.
They make whole movies about it. Yeah, Neil Breen.
Neil Breen.
It's Breen, I think.
I think. Neil Breen.
He's made a fuck ton of movies.
Yeah.
Which is more than I've ever done.
And he funds them himself.
Fair enough, yeah.
It's just his little projects. They're rock bottom productions. But they are getting done. They are movies. They're movies. They're just not any good.
Movies.
They're movies. They're, I'd say technically better than Birdemic. But I don't really consider Birdemic to be a movie.
Although Birdemic is a laugh fucking riot.
Birdemic is fucking terrible.
That guy.
Yeah.
That guy that made Birdemic. What's his name? He's a Vietnamese fella.
Yeah, he doesn't understand how white people date.
Well, he doesn't understand how humans do anything ever.
Yeah, right.
I think he might be legit from another planet.
He's like his...
Or, I don't know.
That particular guy, the dude who did Birdemic, his whole fucking understanding of the way Caucasians date is that the white guy sits on a fucking chair and the girl sits on his lap and straddles him. That they sit on each other's lap.
And they don't move.
And they don't move. They just sit on each other's lap. Every time, he's always got some cutie in there and some white dude, and she always sits on his lap, and just sits on his lap, and that's dating, sitting on laps. That's a relationship, sitting on laps. It's just that's his. God, well, for the Western audience, we're gonna do this. That's
so weird. Well, and you have to think, like, too, Birdemic...
That's what impressed him, I guess.
Birdemic, and he did another movie called Replicas, which RiffTrax also did a version of, which is hysterical, which is kind of like a weird, like, sci-fi movie, like, about cloning, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is similar to... It's not quite as fun, but it's still, like, pretty what the fuck, and it's still, like, pretty entertaining. But his whole thing, like, he seems to equate... And, like I said, a lot of these movies... You can see, like, what the dude's psychology is from the movies that he makes. Because a lot of the things that he equates with dating are essentially stalking. Yeah, like, if it happened in real life...
I forgot about that.
You would mace that dude. Yeah. Okay? Or you would, like, call the cops or get a restraining order
his idea
against that dude. That's not romantic. It's not...
His idea of dating and the way white people meet each other is that there's a white guy who's just walking around, okay? He walks around and looks at things, and a girl comes walking by. And he sees her and follows her home.
Look at that object I'd like to possess.
And then she goes into the house, and he comes up and rings the doorbell and goes, I couldn't help but notice you 4 miles back. I love you. You're very attractive. Can I come into your house? Just what?
And she's like, sure.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying I think that dude might legit be like an alien in a skin suit.
Yeah.
Because like on what planet?
It's how he's imagining it.
Like in reality, that story would turn up on Reddit as like a horror story.
If you followed a girl home, for any of you foreigners, if you ever follow an American girl home and say, I just saw you downtown. She will fucking shoot you.
You were getting shot.
She will fucking shoot you. She'll go in and come back with a fucking shotgun.
Who the fuck are you? I don't care. Blam.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
Who does that?
A serial killer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
A serial killer or a serial rapist.
We're not paranoid.
Right.
Dudes are creepy. Like, that's creepy.
You don't follow a girl home that you don't fucking know. Yeah. Crazy.
I don't know, and I kind of feel like the weird thing about this is why I never liked rom-coms or things like that, like even going back like decades, because there's a trope in rom-coms that, not so much anymore, thankfully. I don't think they do it as much anymore because they know that it's problematic, is that dudes, it's like women are, oh, we're so hard to get and blah, blah, blah. And you just have to be like persistent. So I kind of feel like dudes of a certain generation have sort of like internalized that message. It's like, well, if she says no or she seems like reluctant at first, then I just have to keep trying. So they'll kind of like, at which point a woman nowadays will be like, please get away from me or I'm going to have, you know, I'm going to call the cops. And then they get mad. But I'm just like, that's creepy behavior. I don't know you. Like, what are you doing? Like, you're acting like...
Yeah.
It's super creepy. It's super creepy. Nobody likes that whole persistent thing. It's just creepy. That's all. Creepy.
South American culture, it exists, but they're playing a game when that happens. And you can't, it doesn't work up north. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's probably out of style even now, probably in South America. In Brazil, if a girl liked you, she would constantly be around you. You know what I mean? And she'd be talking loud to try to get your attention, to get you to look at her.
Well, I kind of feel like even in America, if you know what to look for.
Yeah, let me finish. So then you go, hey, how you doing? And then they pretend, then they start playing hard to get. You know what I mean? And then if you stop pursuing them or stop showing interest, then they get mad and storm off. And that's a South and Central American thing. And it has to do with Catholicism. Okay? They want to go out with it. And in Brazil, the women were more the aggressors than the guys. The woman cannot have the responsibility of picking up another dude. You have to be, or picking up a dude. You have to pick her up. Therefore, she can't be blamed in the confession booth. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they bait you into being the aggressor. And if you're not the aggressor, she's going to get mad. But the thing is, though, is that you are not choosing her. She's choosing you. It's just that you have to understand the cultural subtext. Okay? Now, sometimes those guys would move up north and expect that game to be played. But it's not being played. Sometimes in their mind, their imagination, they think that the girls are playing that game with them, but it's not. That's a South American, that's a Brazilian thing, an Argentine thing, probably Mexico.
See, that's
my
problem.
Mexicans.
That's your imagination.
You're right. Probably the same way in Mexico. I don't know. I have to ask Tom when he shows up.
Most of the time, we're not even noticing your ass.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing is, though, is even in Central and South America, that girl has chosen you. She is choosing you to be the aggressor, and to pursue her. Okay, it is not Western liberal democracy thinking. Okay, it's South and Central American thinking. So the aggression it actually is the female, not the male. In Brazil, when I was there in the 80s growing up, to respond to a woman's advances was a sign of weakness. So you had women that were trying to bait you in, at least with me when I was a teenager. They were trying to bait you into conversations and get attention, and then they were the 3 or 4 of them all competing to try to get your attention. And if you gave in to them, that was a sign of weakness. You're supposed to be aloof and hard to get. And the harder you were to get, the more they would double down and triple down on trying to get. It was ridiculous. But these were teenagers. Okay? It was the teenagers. But evidently, according to everybody else, growing up there, all my Brazilian friends, that's the way it went all the way into the 20s. In your 20s, in that generation back then. So it's not the same game. Could be when you have immigration in the United States, especially South and Central America, Middle East, from their point of view, an American woman is fucking sending a lot of mixed signals to them. So they don't get it. They don't understand the northern ways. Religion has a lot to do with it. Catholicism and Islam, similar in certain ways. But North America is, if you go back in time, it's mostly Puritanism in the Northeast and again Protestantism in the South, and it's a different thing. You know, the morality's different. The tenets of liberal democracy, if you go back far enough, it comes from the Northeast, is Puritanism. No matter what they say, it's Puritanism.
Well, and the thing about it, too, is that women are absolutely sending signals here, too.
Yeah.
It's just that sometimes maybe they're more subtle or maybe...
Yeah.
And if you're paying attention, you can see them.
Yeah.
The thing about it is that if a woman wants you to approach her, you'll pretty much be able to tell that if you are astute enough to see that. Like I said, sometimes it's, subtle. They don't want to be like too fucking thing. But... the problem is that a lot of dudes think that everything's going to be super obvious, so they'll come up to a woman and she'll be sending obvious signals that she doesn't want you there. Like, she'll be kind of, like, turning away from you or just giving you, like, monosyllabic answers or whatever. And, like, some dudes keep persisting. And I'm like, dude, that woman is telling you she does not want to talk to you, obviously. She's turning away from you. She's not really answering. She's doing this kind of shit, like, take the fucking hint. But most people don't. Yeah. So there's that. They just keep like doubling down on it, which, like I said, at that point you become like a creepy person that has to have the bouncer called on them. But there's that. Holy Parish of Doom says that's an observation from one of the old MST crew that it seems that most men who make movies have major issues with women. Yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah. They do.
Incels, a lot of them.
They do.
They were nerds, a lot of them, that never got any attention.
And I mean, it's, I love movies, and I like a lot of male directors, but I mean, most of the ones I like or like don't have that problem. But yeah, I can see like what they're talking about. Some of them like absolutely do have some like big issues that they're like working out. Adriana says Lucio Fulci had great films and others that were just unwatchable, yet I liked them all. I kind of did too. I mean, he had some shitty ones. He made so many movies, but one of my favorite ones, you've probably seen it, is The Psychic. And I feel like that's one a lot of people don't talk about, but I really, really like that. It was kind of like a Giallo movie, but it had like some psychic, like paranormal sort of aspects to it. But yeah, I really dug that one. We probably need to like review it at some point. I don't know why we haven't. Let's see. Every rom-com should be called Trying to Fuck. Yeah, pretty much.
Trying to fuck or trying to get fucked.
Yeah. Serpent Surfer says Richard Lehman wrote better relationships. I hope you're being sarcastic, but yeah. And that DJ Maniac said that too. The fucking hell he did. Look, I love Richard Lehman, but okay, he's really good. He's a horror author, by the way. He's passed away. He passed away a long time ago. If you're into like splatterpunk stuff and you just want something that's like fun and like super gory and super violent and super smutty, then yeah. But Richard Lehman wrote like an over testosterone teenage boy about everything.
But I just don't understand.
If you know that going in, then they're just like a good time. But some of the stuff that he writes, I'm reading it going, holy fuck, really, dude? Okay. But it's like, it's a lot. I reviewed a couple of his books on my channel. I did Come Out Tonight, and I did Body Rides, that was crazy. All of his books are kind of crazy. I haven't read like a bunch of them, but I've read like maybe 5 or 6 of them. Body Rides was something else. But okay, let me give you an example. One of his books, Come Out Tonight, which is one that I reviewed like a while back. It was about this woman, and she just got a new boyfriend, and they've decided they're gonna have sex for the first time. And they don't, like, he doesn't have condoms, or his condom breaks or something like that. So he's like, well, shit, I gotta go to the, like, store and get more condoms. So he drives to the convenience store, like, 2 blocks away, right? And he doesn't come back. So the girl is just kind of like, well, what the fuck should I do? And she, like, fucking hems and haws for, like, an hour and a half. And I'm just sitting there like, girl, do something. Like, whatever. Like, or don't do anything. Like, what's the fucking difference? Who cares? But she decides that she's going to go, this is L.A., like, in some sketchy-ass neighborhood. Oh, I'm going to, like, walk down to this convenience store in this sketchy-ass neighborhood, like, the middle of the night and see what happened to my boyfriend. So she goes down there, and she can't find him. And then, like, she ends up getting picked up by this teenage kid that she kind of knows because she's, like, a substitute teacher. The kid turns out to be a psychopath who rapes her multiple times, like in horrible ways, and then like leaves her for dead and dumps her off an overpass. Now, that's not like even the worst thing that happens to her. The 2 teenage boys who find her, this is in the book, you guys. I did not make this up. So they think she's dead because she's like laying at the bottom of she's naked. She's obviously been like beat up and fucked up and shit, everything like that. She's laying at the bottom of the overpass. And the 2 teenage boys like come up to her and they're like, whoa, we think she's dead. Literally the first thing that these teenage boys think of in the book, let's turn her over so we can see her tits. And then they were like, maybe we should stick our fingers up her snatch. Shit like that. And I was just like, please tell me that teenage boys don't think like this, because that's horrifying. But yeah, so that's like the first thing they think, and then, oh shit, she's alive. And then there's this whole thing, I don't know. Like, I wrote this whole thing about it. I did a review and I talked about it on there, but it's just kind of like, that's kind of like what you're getting into with the original. I like the books, they're entertaining, but the way he writes female characters is horrific and also like kind of hilarious. Like, from a woman's point of view, like if you read it, it's like just it's just an endless source of like hilarity for me, because it's like so funny, because I'm like, obviously I'm like, did you not know? Like, no woman has ever thought this or anything like that. But it's like, it's cool. It's funny that you think that. But yeah, so, but that's why they're funny to me. I just find them like really entertaining for that reason, just because I can't believe that anybody would think. But I just think that he wrote them as like weird adolescent fantasies, basically. And obviously there's an audience for that. Like, shit, I read them. I think they're funny, but I think they're funny, and you know, if you like really gory shit, like really, he kind of gets like lumped together with sort of your splatterpunk authors, like from the 90s, particularly like Jack Ketchum and Douglas Clegg and people like that. Edward Lee. He wasn't as good a writer as them, but it's the same kind of thing. So it's like everything. So if you just want something that's like really sleazy and like just really like super gory and like over the top and like kind of stupid, then yeah, you could certainly do a lot worse. But you know, he's famous for a reason. But some of his stuff is like so what the fuck that you just like can't believe that like somebody wrote that. I don't know. I just find them very funny. But John Smith said that's the kind of stuff pickup artists teach to incels. Yeah, what I was saying before about being like persistent, like if women are like giving you signals like that they don't want them to talk to you to keep at it, I was like, absolutely don't do that.
You're not going to be able to overcome resistance.
Don't do that. Well, and the reason about it, like the only reason that women don't just like look right in your face and say, hey bitch, fuck off. I mean, I will, but I'm an asshole. Yeah. But a lot of women won't, because you're kind of socialized to not cause a scene, not cause conflict. You're always supposed to be like polite. You're always supposed to be nice. And you feel bad like hurting other people's feelings. But, you know, once you get to my age and you don't really give a shit about anybody's feelings anymore, so it's like you'll just tell people, look, fuck off or I'm going to punch you. But when you're young, you don't think like that. You're always kind of like trying to be like, oh, well, I want people to like me and I don't want to be mean and blah, blah, blah. And so you'll kind of try to be nice to that person, even though you would really, really want them to go away.
In general, you're not going to be able to overcome resistance. If a woman is resisting you, it's because you're not attractive. She doesn't like you. That's just it. You're not going to be able to overcome it.
Yeah, and I mean, pursuing that further is just going to make her like you less.
Yep.
Because they're like, you're just getting creepier as the time goes on, and it's getting to a point where we're going to have to call somebody. Yeah.
Usually what it is it's something, you're ugly, so she don't want to do with you. 2, she thinks you're a fucking creep, all right? Because 1, there isn't a woman with you already. You're being aggressive, which you're just trying, she knows you're just trying to get laid, and then you're going to move on, all right? It doesn't matter how good looking you are. Women don't really care about that.
It really doesn't.
Women don't care about that. She doesn't know you, all right? I had a lot of success with women, but that's because they knew me.
By the way, thank you, Zach.
What did he say?
You mean you've never stood outside your crush's house holding up a boombox, playing a power ballad standards at midnight in the pouring rain? I have not.
Yeah. I never had to overcome any kind of resistance because there was never resistance. All right? They already knew me. They were already up for it. Okay? And that's because... Man, I don't want to sound like a fucking pickup artist. Is that because she likes you already? There's no resistance.
Well, the thing that women find... I think one of the things... And I'm not speaking for all women, obviously, because everybody's different. Yeah. But I think one thing that turns women off is male... goal-oriented behavior.
Yeah, I'm gonna go fuck this bitch. They see that shit a mile away.
Y'all think
I'm a man and I can see
y'all think y'all being slick. You're not being slick.
No, not at all.
And a woman can immediately see, hey, this dude just like thinks I'm hot or thinks I'm cute or whatever, and they're just coming over like pretending to be interested in you so they can get laid.
Yeah.
And women just really don't like that.
No.
And because they can see that, like dudes think they're being sly and everything like that, but we're like, oh Jesus Christ, here it comes. They can see it before you even come over there. They can see it in your body language. They see it. So you come over there and try that shit, and they're just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. You know what I mean? So, you know.
The best mating...
Goal-oriented behavior. We don't like that.
The best mating strategy is fucking self-improvement. Self-development. Be somebody.
Just be a cool person. Be an interesting person.
Fucking, right.
And be interested in other people.
Yeah. Wear cool clothes. Fucking get into some shit. Develop yourself. Go into fucking social fucking circles. Make friends. You know, if you don't have any friends, you're not getting laid. You're just not.
Yeah, because everyone's going to be suspicious. Why don't you have any friends? Like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah. So you go in there and just start making friends. So it's a long-term fucking thing. And women, the main thing women look for is fucking status. And status can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't necessarily mean rich. Status is social status. She's looking for a guy who everybody already knows, everybody already approves of you. Then you start fucking becoming...
Well, the thing about it is that because from our point of view, if we don't know you...
If we don't know you, there's something wrong.
They're like, well, no, what I was going to say is that if we don't know you, but everybody else knows you, and it's like, that's a cool dude,
better, right,
then you're going to, like, a lot of your guard will come down. It's like, well, everybody knows him, and he's okay. Like, there's no stories going around about him about being a creep or anything like that.
Yeah, and he's not doing anything. He's just hanging out. He's hanging out and he's fucking...
And he's not trying anything.
Yeah, right. He's just hanging out. Hanging out and doing this and that, being entertaining and fucking... And it's not ulterior motives. That's just who the dude is.
Yeah, I think
people have a fucking real good sense of what's legitimate.
That's the biggest red flag, is that you know that somebody just... They don't give a shit. They're just coming over to talk to you because they want to fuck you.
Right, yeah.
And it's really obvious that they're not interested in you as a person. They're not... You know, they just, like, saw you across. They're like, that one's hot. I'm going to go, like, fucking pick on that. And it's like...
These dudes that come over with obvious ulterior motives to pick some chick up in one of these meat markets, you would think, well, man, he must be the aggressor. He must be the fucking... No. The only woman that accepts that shit, she is equally as aggressive as that dude. She's looking for something. The only girls that fall for that shit, they're thinking, like, wonder how much money this guy has. I got to get out of the apartment I'm in. I'm going to move into his apartment. That kind of shit. So, now that's not in the goth scene for the most part. That's just not there. But if you go to those meat market scenes, those dudes running around like a meat-seeking missile, those girls are in there too, looking for some kind of an exchange. That's why I never went to them fucking places.
God,
every one of those girls,
awful.
Every one of them girls is, in a way, a loser. There's something about...
I mean, everybody is, like, just looking for something. Like, out for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate that.
Right.
That's why I'm always glad that, like, I busted off early and, like, went into the goth scene. Because there's a lot of drama in the goth scene, too. But it's just kind of like... Yeah. At least it's much smaller. It's a much smaller community. Everyone kind of knows each other. If somebody, like, fucks up, everybody knows about it.
Yeah.
So it's like, avoid that person, or that person did this, and it's like, we don't want to, like, associate with them anymore, so that's fine. But it's just kind of like, at least you know that you have, like, a common interest. You're not getting, like, some random-ass motherfucker coming up to you pretending, hey, I like beaches, too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just, God.
I like sports and parasailing. Get the fuck out of here.
I know. It's like, God, I hate that. I hate that. It's like, if you're not into the same shit as me, if you're not, like I said, if you're not interested in me as, like, a person, then you can fuck right off. I really don't. I'm not about that. I'm just not. Oracle says...
Usually with the girls in those other scenes, they want somebody to pay their rent, or they want somebody to help pay for those kids. That's usually what it is. All right. And they're going to use these fucking horny-ass suckers as a vehicle to get that done. And is that dude a horny sucker? Yeah, he's a horny fucking sucker. He is. Most of them are. That's the worst case scenarios, but it's also kind of like the baseline of the fucking meat market scene.
Yeah, see, that's why I never got into
If she didn't need anything, she wouldn't be in the meat market. And usually that's what it is. Kids and rent.
Yeah. Oracle says, the ultimate sign of non-interest, reading a book in public, right? Do not interrupt me when I'm reading. Oh my God. how many times, like, cause, you know, a long time ago, like, before I got a car, and I used to take public transportation, so I used to take the bus everywhere. And I would always either have headphones on, or I would be reading a book. I cannot count the number of times somebody came and sat next to me, even though I had, like, my backpack there, because I didn't want anybody sitting there. Unless the bus was full. I mean, I'll move it then, because I'm not a jerk. But people come and say, what are you reading? I was reading a book and enjoying it very much before you got up in my fucking face and, like, started talking to, like, get the fuck away from me. I'm reading a book, obviously. I don't want to talk to you. I don't understand, like, why people feel the need to, like, invade a stranger's... I don't know. It's just... that's so weird to me. It would never, literally never occur to me to go up to a complete stranger and, like, interrupt what they were doing, and they're clearly, like, enjoying themselves, like, reading a book or whatever. Hey, what are you doing? Please pay attention to me. I don't really get that. I don't get that. But a lot of people are like that, I guess. I don't get it, though. I've never been like that. I would never have the audacity. So it's like every time somebody did that, I would always just be like, who the fuck raised you? Get the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? Like, I would say that now. When I was younger, I was, like, too shy to say that. I would just be like, a book, what does it look like? I would just, like, go away, please go away. Nowadays, I'd probably just go, pap, just, like, hit him with the book. Fuck off. Find another seat. But, you know, I'm old now. I don't give a shit anymore. That's
Ian said the meat market scene is wild in the Midwest. It's always the same motherfuckers, yeah.
Camp guys.
He calls it the human zoo. I go to watch all the horny humans mating rituals.
Yeah. We see some of it at Mannequins.
Adriana says, I thought guys in the goth scene were quite intense, like Roz Williams from Christian. No.
Well, it's a wide spectrum, just like everything else.
A friend of mine fucking hung out with Roz. Fucking Lil Javier, who's a DJ up in Boston, hung out with Roz. Roz was cool, but Roz had big drug problems. Roz fucking could do kind of what he wanted in the goth scene, and that was another era. I'm not sure... You couldn't act like that today in the goth scene and get away with it. That was just another time.
Adriana says, John Cusack and Jeff Goldblum are hot. Yeah, they are. And them in my yard with a boombox, I would do them. Yeah, I probably would too. Not gonna lie. Because they have, like... They have that it factor. You know? Like I said, that's maybe what a lot of guys don't understand about women. Is that both of those dudes are, like, totally hot. Maybe not, like, physically hot, like, not what you would think of as hot, but they have, like, they're very, like, charismatic. So I'm like...
Where's the fucking mullet wig?
I don't know.
Damn.
It's in there somewhere. It's probably underneath all the other wigs. Because I stopped hanging them up. I used to hang them all up, but you kept, like, flinging them everywhere, so I just gave up. He messed up my closet. I bought, like, all these things on Amazon where you could, like, hang your wigs. It's like a hanger, and it's got, like a wig thing on it. Like, it's plastic, and you can hang them on there, so it keeps them all right. Wow, you haven't put on wigs in a long time. You got your Joe Dirt wig on.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing about... I don't know. I feel like there's not really... In the scene nowadays, because you have such an age spectrum... I mean, we have friends that are everywhere from 19 to 55.
Yeah, a lot of them are old fat guys now.
So it's kind of like all across the board. Yeah. So you can't really, like, categorize.
Yeah. I got my Roddy Piper fucking wig on. That's right, fucking.
You hear, like, Chew Gum and Kick Ass? Or
Michael Caine wig? No, Michael Caine wig's in there. I'll come out with that shit.
Oh, that's right, yeah. It's funny because the Michael Caine wig is actually, technically, it's a Willy Wonka wig. Is what it is. But when we were looking for a wig when he wanted to play Michael Caine from The Hand, which is what he dressed up as.
That was the closest I could get.
That was like I was like, well, that's pretty close because he had some, like, fucking Willy Wonka looking ass hair in that fucking movie.
Can I ask you something? Oh, I gotta get. I'm not gonna talk like Michael Caine.
Yeah, you're fucking it up.
I'm fucking it up. I gotta have the wig on.
I mean, when you're like that...
Is he fucking you? Is he fucking you?
Oh, you did it anyway.
I did it anyway. Yeah. Fucking Michael Caine.
When you're like that, you gotta do, like, redneck shit.
That was an Oliver Stone flick. If you guys never seen The Hand, go fucking check that shit out, man. It was a good fucking horror movie.
That movie scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Very good. Well-written Oliver Stone horror movie.
That's good.
With with a deeper fucking meaning to it, and it references Conan because he was working on Conan too. Oliver Stone.
It's all about toxic masculinity.
It's all about toxic masculinity.
It is actually.
Yeah, the Hand is about toxic masculinity.
Oh, for big time. Big time.
Real toxic masculinity, not fake toxic masculinity. Like you hear the people complain about. It's real, and it references Conan, which was healthy masculinity. A lot of people fucking Conan was no. You got to go back and fucking watch the original Conan 1. Conan had a good relationship with people and women, and was into strong women, and you know he was Conan was a good dude in Conan 1. He was very Nietzschean and about personal growth, and he understood the sacred feminine, the eye of the serpent. I said, well, how could the serpent be feminine? He's talking about Asherah and Asherah poles. Asherah was the serpent from the Garden of Eden. In the original story, Asherah was God's wife. It's like Hera and Zeus. But they edited that story to omit fucking Asherah, to make it more monotheistic. And she was transformed into a snake. Because her thing was snakes. It's a weird concept. You have an egg, which goes in the ground, and it comes out as a serpent, and then it makes an egg in the ground, and it comes back as a serpent. An egg is female, and a serpent is male. And it's kind of like this never-ending cycle. How does a snake reproduce? You look at them; they don't have any gender. That's what the ancients thought, because you couldn't see any sexual organs on a fucking snake, so they just thought that an egg, it was one of the ancient mysteries, you know.
Don't leave that closet door open.
Well, okay, she'll go in there and fuck it up. Yeah.
Well, because she goes in there and she almost strangled herself on one of my bras one day. Yeah. So I keep it closed now. She gets mad about it, but
you're right.
She's like, "Hey, open the door."
Scarface, great Oliver Stone movie. Yeah, I liked Scarface. It was good. I gotta see that one again. I want to own Scarface. Somebody send me Scarface on Blu-ray. If y'all want to send me Scarface on Blu-ray, I'll do a review.
You're shameless, Tom.
I'm shameless like a motherfucker.
You are. John Smith says, fun Michael Caine fact, he only legally changed his name from Maurice Micklethwait to Michael Caine in 2016.
That Maniac mentions a good thing to fucking Ariana. Says, Roz was a bit extreme, but he was just a character he played on. It was kind of like a character he played on stage, He wanted to be a goth Bowie, and he did sound like a goth Bowie, especially early on.
And he covered a couple Bowie songs. He covered Time, which is actually
Roz was good. He killed himself on fucking April Fool's Day. To our surprise. That was what? 98? 97?
Something like that.
On April Fool's Day. It was like, that dude killed himself, man. Heroin. I think he thought heroin was destroying him and holding him back forever, and he felt like a fool and died. Killed himself.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know.
That was my take on it.
So it's just kind of hard to say. I don't know. It's just like every other, I guess from the outside it looks like monolithic, I suppose, like the goth scene, but just like everything else, it's a lot more. It's just people like everything else. So we have like...
Them bitches got ways.
Yeah, there's really nothing that you see that sort of like applies across everybody.
No.
Everybody. Like I said, because, I mean, the cool thing about the goth scene that I always thought was one of the things that I mentioned earlier, that it spans like multiple generations at this point. Because a lot of people we know that are our age have kids that are grown.
Yeah.
That are also into the scene, and they'll bring them out to the clubs and shit like that.
With their boyfriends or girlfriends.
With their boyfriends or girlfriends. So it's like a really weird, I don't know, I guess like from a normal standpoint it's kind of weird, but for us it's not like really that weird.
That's what church used to be like.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. Like church.
It's a lot more fun than church.
More fun. Well, I think church used to be fun when that was all there was.
Was church ever fun?
Yeah, I think it was fun when you spent all day toiling in the fucking in the fields.
Yeah, but then like your standards were way lower.
The standards were low. You go in there and you'd hear them talking, and they put on a show and sing songs, and you saw fucking stained glass, and it was pretty inside there, and it was probably the only time you were in a pretty building, fucking, and then we saw God. Okay, get back to the field. That's it's like that. The temple scene in ancient Rome seems to have been the club scene. I mean, that's what it was. They were in there dancing, singing, listening to music, and taking drugs, and watching animatronic robots do weird things. And it made a lot of money. So I would think that the Roman temple scene was the club scene. That'd be the.
Well, it's not like they had anything better to do.
They didn't have anything else to do. It was the biggest industry in the city. So
just saying.
One of the biggest industries. So it would have been like theater and clubs at the same time. And then the themes of those temples was weird. You know what I mean? They had sexual themes or drinking milk out of pregnant women themes and.
Well, they knew what brought in the peeps.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're trying to make money off this endeavor, so we know what sells. So,
Yeah. And they were all competing with each other and trading stories.
See you later, John Smith. He says, the hour grows late for me, so I'm going to have to retire for the evening. Have a good one, y'all. Yeah. Good night. Good night. Holy Parish of Doom says, horror and metal icons typically observe that fans and conventions always are the nicest people, even though they don't appear to be so. Honestly, I've found that to be true through my life as well. I know this doesn't apply across the board because I've known some creeps in my time also. But generally people that are into horror or into goth or into like metal or into like anything like that, they tend to be nicer people. Generally. I mean, in my experience, and I know that that's anecdotal, but they do tend to be like nicer people than regular ass looking people, at least in my experience. You know what I mean? And maybe other people have found that as well. I'm not really sure. And we've kind of talked about maybe why that is because I kind of feel like people that are into horror or people into goth or metal or whatever, they kind of like wear their dark side on the outside, so you know what you're getting. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas like somebody that is trying really hard to be normal or trying to fit in, you don't know what kind of fucking nefarious shit is going on like underneath the surface that they're trying to cover up. So I'm always like naturally distrustful of people like that because I'm like, what are you trying to sell me? Like what? I don't know like what's going on behind that facade. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I feel like people that are goths or stuff like that, we're just like we don't have a facade because this is just kind of like, this is what we're like and this is what we look like on the outside.
There are fakes,
yeah.
Though.
Yeah.
There are fakes.
Yeah, there are.
And then there's sometimes, young people come in the scene and they got a certain zeal to them. They're trying to make a name for themselves and they're trying to be respected in a scene that they've just kind of have just become a part of, maybe only a couple years. And they get fucking, hoity-toity, I guess you could say, or get a little stuck up. That never lasts, though. They're just trying to make a kind of an impression on other people. And then they get a little bit older and they're like, yeah, this isn't as very serious. They're like, no, this isn't serious. This is just clubs. People are getting high and they all know each other and fucking drinking and fucking...
We want to get drunk and like dance to some good tunes. That's all.
Not really... And then, like, they're... So you have that, too. It doesn't matter. That's normally very young women. They're like that, Just new to the scene. Sometimes you'll see that. And they're also, like, the real hot ones. Real young, real hot. The first couple of years, they're trying to make a name for themselves, I guess you could say. But
the thing about it is that, I mean, hot people do well everywhere, but I do kind of feel like hot women in particular, especially if they're, like, really young. If they're used to being, like, really young and really hot, then they're just kind of, like, used to getting their way. So I kind of feel like they're like, well, whatever I do, I'm going to be successful because I'm young and hot, and that's always, like, successful. And to an extent, that works, but after a little while, if you don't really have any, like, substance to back that up or... it's gonna like blow up in your face.
Well, they'll try to be better than everybody else, but they can't exist on their own.
Yeah, there's that.
Scene's too small.
That too.
Scene's too small.
Yeah,
but they got some real hotties. I mean, you know what I mean? They got real hotties. Some of them stick with it. Some of them don't. But eventually, after a couple years in the scene, they start chilling out and kind of becoming like everybody else.
Well, we kind of give them a lot of leeway when they're young because I'm like, look, we were all young and dumb too. And we didn't know what the fuck we were doing at that age. I remember.
Yeah.
Kind of. You know, so you're gonna like you'll cut them some slack. They'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Most of the time. Now, not
they
saying...
don't do damage to people like me and Jenny because we're kind of aloof from that. The ones they fuck up are young guys who are trying to get them, trying to get some of that.
Well,
they'll fuck those dudes up.
That's another thing.
Sometimes they'll lie about them though. You know, they just try to get them kicked out of the club, and best thing to do is just just to stay away from them.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah, and they're gunning for a certain kind of goth guy anyway. They're gunning for the same fucking top 10 that all the other girls are fucking gunning after. Fucking guys that are in bands and fucking, kind of like the dudes from Misfit Toys and shit. You know, they're going for guys like that.
Yeah. I mean, those are good looking dudes.
Yeah, good looking guys in their fucking 20s, their early 30s, fucking mid 30s. You know, they're fucking going for that. Those guys are all starting to get fucking regular girlfriends though now, so they're not on the market like they used to be.
No.
Yeah.
It's just hilarious to me how, I don't know. I guess people that aren't in it like don't really like think about it, but it's like, yeah, we have like a whole other we have our whole other thing going on. And like I said, yeah, there's a lot of drama, and I kind of feel like there's, even within the scene, like people make jokes about goth drama, blah blah blah. But I don't think it's any different than the drama that goes on in like regular kind of shit. We don't have any more drama than anybody else does, and in fact, we might have less drama. I kind of feel like in a lot of ways we have less drama than like regular stuff, but because we're goths, we have to like play it up like it's like the worst drama ever. I don't think it's like
what's the guy from Misfit Toys I'm thinking of?
Who, Damian?
Damian, yeah. Damian.
Well, he has a girlfriend. He's had a girlfriend.
I was going to show you who it is that I'm talking
about. He's had a girlfriend for a really long time. Jenna.
Yeah, Jenna. There's Damian.
They come to Mannequins, they sell their art.
Yeah.
Pretty much every Friday night there.
Yeah, Damian's a real good-looking, tall...
He's a painter.
Mixed guy. And fucking...
And a photographer.
Yeah.
And he sells his art at Mannequins. Like, pretty much every Friday night, him and Jenna are there.
Yeah.
They have, like, a booth set up.
Try to get a picture of him and Jenna together.
I'm sure there's got to be a million.
We've known them for fucking
like
ever.
Pictures of her.
Yeah. She's fucking hot, too. Let me see. Here they are.
Yeah, that's them.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you're dealing with when it comes to like top echelon from the scene, and he's real cool. Fucking, they've been friends of ours.
They're both actually really cool.
Yeah, we've been friends with them forever.
They're really nice, both of them.
We've done a lot of events together, fucking through Mannequins and stuff. But shit, we've known him for fucking what, over 10 years now, huh?
Fuck him, it's a long time.
Yeah.
Well, we knew him when he was back with
Bree.
With Bree.
Bree, yeah. Let me see.
Bree was cool too.
Bree was cool also.
But yeah, she went off and did her own thing because they broke up a while back. Granthars asks, are goth women more introverted than normies as a general rule?
No.
I don't know if I would say that. Like, some of them are. I am. But that doesn't apply across the board. Like I said, it's very, very diverse. I mean, out of all the women that I know that I'm, like, really close to, I'm probably the most introverted, I would think.
Yeah. Bree's not in the scene anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time.
Yeah. Because the only Bree I'm getting is the other Bree. Bree Asbrick.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the other Bree. But, okay, here's a good example of a... That's kind of a goth hottie.
Oh, yeah, that's what's her name.
She's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I got a story of me and her ex. Remember, I sent the ex off, and he went off to fucking oil rigs and fucking got rich.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
She's been around for a while.
She's been around for a long time.
She's cool also.
Yeah.
I mean, 99% of the people that we know, like, in the scene are cool.
Yeah.
Every now and then you get, like, a weirdo, but not usually. Yeah. Because, like I said, the scene is... and it's kind of like a carryover between, like, Orlando people and Tampa people, because we kind of, like... they're close enough together that we kind of, like, get overlap. But everybody kind of knows everybody or knows somebody that knows everybody. So, if you're fucking up, it's gonna get to everybody, like, pretty quickly. You know what I mean? Like, if you do some, like, creepy or rapey ass shit, like, everybody's gonna know about that, like, pretty much immediately. And everybody's gonna be like, okay, fuck you, dude. And then no one's gonna talk to you.
Yeah.
And it has happened. Where that's happened, where everybody found out about one thing, and then everybody's like, okay, we're not talking to that dude.
I'll show them what the new ones are looking like. The young ones are looking like this. They're taking it back to kind of like the Death Rock look.
Which I'm a big fan of.
This is kind of the look.
I'm glad there's another revival because...
This is the look that we grew up with, and they're bringing that back.
And I kind of feel like in the early 2000s, like, more like the mid 2000s, I feel like there was a Death Rock revival because that was when I went to New York and I went to the Drop Dead Festival, and there was a lot of people, there was a lot of, like, more newer, like, Death Rock bands coming back, or, like, with more of that sound, like Bloody Dead and Sexy and Cinema Strange and shit like that. And so I was like, woo, I'm all about it. And then it kind of, like, came and went, but it seems like lately it's kind of coming back again, which I'm all for that.
That's 80s as shit.
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Because that Death Rock shit with the big fucking faux hawks and stuff, see, I love that. I love that. And that, like, fucking Susie eyes and all that. I love that shit.
Yeah, she's excellent. She's not local.
So bring that shit back.
She's not local to us,
well,
but we have
timeless.
These. But we have these. These are starting to show up now. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how we ended up meeting Nick and his, was his girlfriend, is because they were, like, clearly very young. They were, like, 18, 19, 20, but they looked really old like school. That. Yeah. They looked like all Death Rock, and I was like, oh, these kids know what it's about. Yeah. Let's go talk to them.
This is the same girl as the other ones, but that is, like, the old classic look.
Yeah, see, we love that.
But they've amped it up. Because the clothes are easier to get now. Well, and also good hair color is easier to get now.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Which just fucking sucks because now we don't have hair. Or at least I don't.
Well, yeah, it is a lot. I will say that it is a lot easier to keep that look up like than it was back in the old days, because now you can buy the clothes online. You don't have to, like, go to thrift shops or make your own shit or whatever. The hair dye is much better. The makeup quality is much better. Like, you can get better quality for, like, lower price. You know, it's just easier to get shit. Yeah. Shit, man, you can buy black nail polish at the fucking dollar store nowadays. Back in the old days, back in my day, we used to have to wait until Halloween, which was the only time they ever had black nail polish. And then you'd, like, buy the cheap-ass shit, and you'd have to, like, buy a whole bunch of it. Yeah. Like, to stock up for the rest of the year. Or you'd have to do your nails with, like, Sharpies. Yeah. Because they didn't sell it. They didn't sell it the rest of the year. Because it was considered a weird color. It was only, like, normal at Halloween time. That was the only time you could buy it. But... So
Oracle and Mundane's crashing. See you, Oracle.
Aw. How come goth women don't smile in photos? Is that a secret rule? Because it causes wrinkles, bitch. That's why.
Because it makes you look more accessible. See?
Yeah, we don't want to be accessible.
Have to be aloof.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want every fucker, like, fucking be like, oh, look at you with your cute... Yeah, fuck that. Yeah. We're not happy. Piss off. No, I'm just kidding. I like to smile in my pictures because I think if I try to look aloof in my pictures, I just kind of look... I don't know. Not good. I think I look better when I smile in pictures, but there's that. But I have done, like, some photos where I try to look, like, moody and, like, fucking introspective and stuff, and it's like I always, like, look really bad in them. So I kind of, like, stopped doing that. Sadly, I don't have that goth, like, far away, like, aloof look. I just don't have it. Like, my face doesn't work like that. I just look better when I smile, unfortunately. So I always have to, like, smile in my pictures. But like I said, I don't know. I don't like to smile because it kind of, like, I don't know. I feel like it causes wrinkles. I'm No, Gramthar was a boring normie, or is still a boring normie. I'm sorry. I don't know what that's like. Jenny, how has your style changed from when you began in the scene and now? Well, I have a slight amount more money now, and a little bit more... I don't know, I kind of feel like when I first started out, my whole thing was I had like zero money, like, because I grew up like pretty poor, so everything that I bought had to be, I either had to save up for like a whole year, like all my birthday money or whatever, or I had to like go to a thrift shop and get it and kind of like alter it myself. So I kind of feel like when I was growing up, a lot of my stuff was just kind of like comprised of whatever I could get my hands on. So I had like old lady like black lace dresses that I bought for like $1 at the Salvation Army and kind of like fixed up, and then I'd cut up an old t-shirt and like put it over it, and and I'd get like combat boots from the Army Navy store because they were cheap and shit like that. So one thing is like I do have like more of a better idea of what looks good and what fits right, and I can actually like choose what I want rather than just like going to a thrift store and just going like, oh well, I'll make this work somehow.
Yeah, those days are over.
Yeah, because that was what I could afford when I was younger.
Well, also the availability.
And that too. You couldn't just and maybe like people that are younger, it's like really hard to.
Couldn't find anything.
You couldn't find anything. You either had to like go to thrift stores and buy shit and alter it, or you had to sew your own shit.
Yeah, or made shit.
Or you had to order stuff from overseas, and it was really expensive.
Like from Black Rose.
Like the first time that I ordered like a real like steel bone corset.
Yeah.
From like someone that made them, it was like $350.
Yeah.
And it was like just specifically made for me, and it was like a big deal. Like I saved up for like a year and a half to buy it. Yeah. And it's like you don't really have to do that anymore.
And she was younger back then, so the budget is a lot smaller.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like you kind of just had to. I basically had to shop at thrift stores, or you had to
modify stuff,
or you had to go to like Walmart, and it's like, well, this is black and this is black, and I can kind of cut this up, and like maybe I can. So you had to like kind of buy stuff at regular stores, but like alter it to like fit your style more. So you had to do that too. Nowadays, you can kind of get exactly what you want.
Yeah, it was hard being goth back then.
It was kind of harder.
It was harder.
Well, you had to put more work into it.
And you had to get a damn outfit together. You might only have 2 outfits, maybe 3. And then you just change the accessories. You couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
They didn't make it. My first wife was making a lot of her clothes.
A lot of people did.
Yeah, I'll show you what
a lot of people did.
Shit that she made. And that was
like I said, I used to get shit at thrift stores. Like I'd buy like old lady dresses that were like black lace or whatever, and then like kind of try to alter them or cut them up so they look more punky or whatever. Like you'd be doing shit like that. You just kind of had to work with what you had. You couldn't really, unless you could afford to order shit from Black Rose.
Yeah.
But that was in England, and that was like really, really expensive, and it was like really expensive to like, for the shipping overseas and everything like that.
That's what a good mid-90s goth chick was. That was my first wife. Did you see what she's wearing? That's stuff that was just kind of made.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, I kind of feel like you also went to like Walmart and Target and places like that, and like picked up like cheap black leggings or like cheap black sweaters, like shit like that, and like altered it to more like fit the style.
Yeah.
Layered things together so they looked more alternative.
Right.
Because they didn't really, they made things that were goth, but a lot of the stuff that was specifically made like to look goth was really expensive.
Yeah.
Like I said, I saved up to buy a corset one year. I saved up, there used to be,
those are 90s goths right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be, what was the other one? It was Black Rose, which I don't know if it's still there, but it used to be in Camden Market, because I used to order from there, and then I actually went there in the 2000s, and they still had the booth. But,
ouch. Oh, man, my hip got me.
But, what was I saying? I got distracted by it.
Talking about where you buy, that's me, 90s. I think that was 97. But you see, that's actually a vintage coat from the 1880s. I put new buttons on it and everything. I had a little ascot.
that was another thing that we did a lot.
You had to find stuff. You
had to like look for shit.
I had big, tall, like 40-hole Doc Martens on, and PVC, black shiny PVC pants, and fucking gloves and shit. You had to make stuff.
One of the other places, like I said, Black Rose was kind of the famous one, but there was another one And I think she's still around, or she was around a couple years ago because I remember seeing her in Gothic Beauty. Cambriel was her name?
Yeah, I know her.
Cambriel, yeah.
I know her in Boston.
Yeah.
She's
And
from Salem.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But she had a company too, and she would like custom make a lot of clothes. And I saved up one year and bought this gorgeous like green velvet dress, and had these bell sleeves with lace, and it's like I fucking loved that dress, and it was so expensive. But I like saved up because it was real velvet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you really had to like save up for like a really long time to like buy a really special outfit if you were going to like something. But the rest of the time I mean, where I grew up, we didn't have Hot Topic until the early to mid 2000s. And even then, that was like kind of sketchy. You could find some good shit in there, like good tights and fishnet shirts and shit. And sometimes you could find some cool dresses in there. But, you know, back then.
That's Jenny about a year ago, getting ready. I fucking had to take that picture. She's got her horns on, and her fucking boots, and the booty and shit. You can see me in the mirror back there, fucking taking a picture. That was
at our old house.
That was the old house. That was a good picture.
Fixing my wig.
Fixing the wig.
Fixing my wig. But yeah, it was a lot harder back then.
Yeah.
I mean, now, shit, man, I can just go on Amazon and it's like, oh, hey, look at that cool goth dress, and it's just like $20.
Yeah, they didn't have that shit back when we were kids.
No. Nobody sold that.
No.
It was either thrift shop or $300.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was like no in between.
Here's another night. This is at what was that?
That's Southern Nights.
Southern Nights. Look at Jenny.
That used to be that. Well, it's still there, I think.
Yeah.
It's a gay bar.
Yeah.
But they used to do like a big fetish party like once a month that was called Escape. And yeah, we used to go to that every month. That was super fun. That was that time when that girl was here visiting us.
Yeah. She's from England.
That's right. It's a British girl. She was here visiting us.
Yeah.
That was a fun night. I don't remember what the theme... They used to do themes. Remember that?
Yeah. I don't really remember.
I remember the Dark Disney one because I was Scary Poppins one time.
Yeah.
I still have the parasol and the little hat that I wore for like Scary Poppins.
Oh, here's another good one.
That was the same night, wasn't it?
I think it was the same night.
Yeah, because that's the same outfit. I was wearing the same outfit.
Our faces aren't coming in.
Yeah, well.
Come on, face. Here we go. That was more of an industrial look right there that night.
DJ Maniac says I'm wearing my vinyl pants tonight. Last night of the season, I can pull this off. I'm heading out. Night, everyone. Good night, DJ Maniac. Have a good time. Be safe. Zach says, for Halloween one year, you guys should dress up as normies. Everybody says that. I don't think I could pull it off, though. I'm not entirely sure I know how to look normal.
It wouldn't look impressive.
Yeah, everybody would just be like,
so what? Yeah.
Well, here's one thing I always remember. One night, and I think this was probably like 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. At Memento Mori, they had their Halloween party. And I look at the door, because we were at the front bar, because we always get there early. And we were at the front bar, like, watching everybody come in. And somebody came in that looked like... This is hard to explain. They looked normal, but they kind of looked like an old, like,
yeah, I remember
you know who I'm talking about. Like maybe like a 70s or 80s, like, housefrau type situation. Yeah. And I'm looking like, what the fuck is that about? And I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking Shauna.
Yeah, it was Shauna.
Holy shit. Okay, so, like, our friend Shauna, who has been on the show before, like, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Who's, like, this total punk rock chick. She's from... What is it called? Like, Massachusetts?
Yeah, she's from Jamaica Plain, I think.
No. Shit, where is it? God damn it. She calls herself a masshole.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Yeah. She's from fucking... Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Brockton,
yeah.
She's from Brockton.
Yeah.
And so she is like... Oh my god, she's fucking hilarious. And her and her husband, they're married now. You know, he's like this old school, like, punk skater dude. And she has, like, she's awesome. She's hilarious. Yeah. She has, like, these big, long fucking dreads. She's, like, totally, she's into punk rock and goth and all this other kind of shit.
Yeah,
and
goes, I remember her. She had the Demon Baby doll.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's her.
Oh, my God. She's awesome. I love her.
Yeah.
And so, like, she shows up at the club.
Dressed as kind of an old lady. She looked like something off a damn...
She had this fucking wig, and she had, like, a cardigan, and, like, and she was carrying the purse like this.
She had some teal bell-bottoms.
Committed to the shit.
White
and, like,
sneakers.
She even, like, walked like the thing, and she was, like, carrying the purse like this, and I was just like, oh, my God. As soon as I realized who it was, I fucking died laughing.
Yeah.
And she, like, committed to that role, like, the whole entire night. She even talked like that. Like, she did, oh my God, it was so fucking funny.
Adriana says, the faux ha in the Egyptian eyes is cool and sexy. Yeah, that's actually taken from Susie and the Banshees. She was doing that stuff. Kind of like, not so much late Susie, but middle of the career Susie. She kind of did that.
I kind of feel like she was sort of like the template.
Right, for the goth.
I mean, people were kind of doing that before then, but she was kind of like codified the sort of like goth look at that point.
Yeah, if you want to know what goth girls are, listen to Susie and the Banshees. Start through their catalog. That's kind of the evolution. That's that same. And then Madonna saw that and ripped it off. Madonna was a Susie ripoff.
Pretty much.
For a while.
I mean, because like especially like early Madonna like when she still looked kind of cool.
Yeah.
She's like, look, I got fishnet shirts on. I'm kind of edgy and shit like that. I'm like, well, not really.
Susie.
Not really, but okay. She tried. Yeah. Well, she was like edgy in like a mainstream sort of way, I guess.
Yeah.
But I still did kind of like Lucky Star and Holiday and all that kind of stuff. It's all right. I liked some early Madonna. No shame. Yeah, so Tammy remembered it. So, I mean, if you know her in real life, it would be much funnier to you, like see her dressed like that. It just seemed like she was going, like her husband was going to the golf course and she was going to have like brunch with the ladies, like while they were. Oh my God, it was fucking hilarious. I just fucking died laughing.
That's Susie right there. What year is that? Maybe 86, 84.
I was gonna say 84. That's 84? Probably 84.
Yeah, that's the look that actually kind of inspired it.
When did you put your Michael Caine wig on?
A few minutes ago.
Oh, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
I thought you saw your fucking your little curly ass wig. That's so funny. Yeah. I mean, she's like a fashion icon. Yeah. You gotta say.
And the new chicks that are showing up are kind of playing off of that in a certain way. Although Susie got even more goth looking later. Just gotta find the right picture.
I mean, she kind of had a lot of... She went a little bit... Later on, she went a little bit more like... I don't want to say glam, but she kind of did like... She went like in a more like 20s kind of direction. She did that as well. Because they did the Creatures as well.
What year was that? It's more, I think, around 85 maybe?
That seems like an earlier picture.
Earlier? Yeah.
The Stripes tells me it's 1982.
Yeah, probably.
I could be wrong about that. Michael asked, Tom, how are you able to retire so young? I watch the show on Fridays. Love it. Well, thank you. Thank you for dropping by.
The VA considers me a disabled veteran. So I have 85% of my pay, active duty pay.
That's how.
Yeah.
Bundy Data said, I had black leather pants once. I have one pair. Well, they're not leather, but they're kind of leather-ish. Pleather? I don't know. They're hot, though. It's Florida. I don't really have much, like, cause to wear them because you wear them and you're just
that's
like
Susie
a fucking
right there, isn't it?
Bag of sweat.
Yeah, that's Susie. Isn't it? Yeah.
It, like, didn't look like her for
It didn't look like her for a second. But
yeah, that's her.
It's probably about 80 what?
I have no idea. Why are you asking?
Yeah. I think that's about 87.
He keeps asking me like I'm Google. I could just make up anything. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that might have been around 87.
I don't know.
Yeah, Susie still looks great, too. She still looks great.
She does, and she's...
she's ancient. She still looks good.
Yeah, how old is she?
She's got to be 60, at least. She's
a
little bit younger than John Lydon. 60-something, let me see.
She's got to be in her 60s.
Got to be.
I mean, got to be. Because I thought she was, like, significantly older because I started listening to her in like the fucking mid 80s. And I thought she was older than me then.
Yeah.
She had to be like somewhat older.
There's her in her probably late 50s. I don't know if the camera can see it. Okay.
Gramthars says kids today don't know the struggle.
Mm.
They don't. I mean, you know. But I wouldn't go back then. I'm not like begrudging them. Like, good for them. I'm glad that it's easier because it was kind of a bitch back then. It sucked. Everything was hard. You know, it's like I'd go to a store, I couldn't find a single thing I wanted to wear. And you had to kind of like improvise everything. You had to make your own shit. You had to like learn to sew. You had to do something. You couldn't just like buy shit off the rack. It was, you know.
Michael's thinking of moving. Would you recommend Texas, Florida, Washington, Mississippi? I would either Florida or Texas.
Well, it depends. What kind of weather do you want?
If you don't
like hot weather, then don't move to Florida because I hate
Florida's
to tell
hot
you.
and humid.
And it's pretty much like that most of the year.
Yeah.
I was born here and I don't like it. So, if that tells you anything.
It all depends on what it is you're trying to do. What is it you want to do? But I would say, just off the top of my head, either Florida or Texas. You want another drink?
Sure.
All right.
Adriana says, loved Susie's look in her manta ray era. Death glam rock. Yeah.
That's
I mean, I'm real into... I really like that death rock look. It doesn't look good on everybody, but in general, that's kind of like my favorite look. And honestly, that's kind of like my favorite subgenre of goth, I guess. I really, really like sort of like the old school death rock, the one that's like glam inspired. I love that kind of stuff, and I love that look. I love that big hair. I love that, like that makeup and shit like that. But other subgenres of goth, like I like the look of that too. I really like for a while, I think in the 2000s, one thing that was kind of big for a minute was cabaret. So everybody was kind of like going back to, well, not everybody, but there was like a small subgenre that was going back to like the 1920s. So it was kind of like wearing those little pin curls and like the exposed garters and, you know, just like 1920s looking stuff, like flapper looking kind of stuff. And I thought that looked really cool as well, but done in a more goth centric kind of way. So people would wear like corsets, exposed garters. They would have like this kind of like, you know, 20s looking hair, 20s looking makeup. And I thought that looked really cool. Yeah. But
Bunny said that in Florida even the rain's hot. Yeah, it is.
It is. That's the thing. You always get excited. It's like, oh, it's raining. It's going to cool it off.
It's going to get hotter.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It just makes it hotter.
Yeah, Florida's
It just makes it more humid.
Florida's tropical. It's hotter than Brazil. I lived in Brazil. Well, there might be some place in Brazil it might be hotter. It might be hotter up closer to the equator, you know, in Rio Amazonas. But no, fucking this is a tropical environment. Shit, glass molds here.
Everything
Cars
molds.
mold.
Everything molds.
Okay.
My car is moldy.
Right, yeah.
They're honestly in Florida, sometimes I will go an entire week without going outside.
Yeah. Right. Florida would be uninhabitable without air conditioning.
Oh, big time. I would not live here.
The population was small here in back in the day.
Because people were like,
because there was no air conditioning. With air conditioning, it allowed people to move here. I mean, you had people living here without air conditioning, but the population was small. They were tough. It'd be like living in Vietnam.
Or they were masochists.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not a person that likes being damp all the time. And if you live in Florida, unless you pretty much stay inside in the air conditioning, you were just like going to be damp all the time. And even nowadays, like, you know, and we have like kick-ass air conditioning. This house, which is 2 stories, has separate air conditioning for the lower floor and the upper floor. And this is a newer house, so it's like pretty efficient. You know, the electric bill isn't horribly expensive. And it runs like pretty efficiently. It keeps it pretty cool in here. Actually, in this office, it's actually kind of cold sometimes. Even in the summer, I have to put like a jacket on. So I'm not complaining about that, not one bit. But I'm just saying that even in the wintertime, like I'll go in there and I'll take a shower, and then you get out of the shower, and then immediately, like 5 minutes after you've gotten out, you're sweaty again.
Yeah. In England,
in air conditioning. So
there's a famous YouTuber named Sargon of Akkad who does political commentary. He's a fucking great guy. He's fucking funny, intelligent, one of England's greatest. And he took his family here to Orlando, Florida, to fucking Disney World a few years back, and he made a video. He was at the Disney Hotel, one of those Disney World hotels, and he's out on the fucking balcony, and his wife's fucking taking a video of it.
And he can't believe it, right?
He's going, I cannot fucking believe it. He goes, I cannot believe how hot and humid it is.
I mean, describing it, it's not the same.
He said, this is like Satan's ass crack.
It is.
He says, it's like being wrapped in plastic.
Yep.
And then having somebody wrap you in a hot, wet blanket. And that's exactly what it's like.
That's exactly what it feels like. All the time.
And then he looks out from the balcony. He's probably on the 30th floor. And he can see down... Cause Disney owns a shit ton of land around that area, and they own swamp land. You just see the tops of these damn trees, and it looks like something out of Rio Amazonas, like the Amazon River. And I grew up in Brazil. I know what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like. You don't see the river, but no, man, this is a jungle. It's a fucking huge fucking swamp.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Dagobah.
It's a swamp.
Yeah.
Florida is a swamp.
Yeah. And this is where fucking...
It's a city on it, but it's a swamp still.
Ponce de Leon looking for the fucking Fountain of Youth, and all these motherfuckers and Seminole warriors killing people and shit.
So
this is some fucking shit out of damn... If these cities weren't here, this would be something straight out of fucking Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Well, that's what it used to be before they built a city on it.
Yeah.
So unless you're into humidity and mosquitoes and giant cockroaches and alligators...
Yeah. And bears.
I mean, the bears probably won't hurt you.
Bears are cool.
But, you know, I mean, it's hot, y'all. And like I said, I can say that, and a lot of people are like, oh, it gets hot here too. No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Texas is hot, but it's dry. It's a lot drier than this place.
This is totally different.
This is totally different.
I have never experienced, like, I've been other places too, but like in Florida, and like I said, I was born here, so you'd think I'd be used to it. Mm-hmm. In the summertime, like, oh, it's nice and air conditioned in the house, or relatively nice and air conditioned in the house. You open the front door to go outside, like to get in your car to go to the store, and it's like a wall of hot dampness. It's like you're walking into like you said, like a wet blanket. Like, and you open the door and you're like
wrapped in plastic and you can't sweat.
It's like that.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, I gotta walk to the car now.
Yeah. It's so you can't sweat here. It's too humid. 100% humidity. Fucking
yes, your sweat glands don't work the way they are.
Hornets are saying, well, it's hot down there by that Mexican border. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's nowhere near heat. I did 6 months in the Sinai Desert in Egypt. In between Egypt and fucking Sinai. Okay. About where Moses was fucking getting the damn 10 Commandments, for all I know. All right. It would get to be about 110, 115 degrees out in that Sinai Desert. And it was cool. It was hot, but it was cool compared to this.
Well, the desert...
Because there's zero humidity.
The desert tends to get cooler or cold at night.
At night it's cold.
Which would be nice.
It'd be very nice.
Florida, that does not happen.
In the Sinai,
it's still hot at
Sinai Desert could get up to about 110 degrees, probably even hotter, maybe 115 in the sun. But because humidity is zero, you can sweat. And that sweat allows you to cool. All you gotta do is get out of the direct fucking sunlight.
Because that's what sweat's supposed to do.
That's what sweat is. Here you cannot sweat.
Yeah, it doesn't work right.
It's like being wrapped in plastic.
Because it won't. Yeah, because it doesn't. It doesn't disintegrate.
It doesn't. You don't evaporate.
Yeah, it doesn't evaporate. That was the word I was
95 here feels fucking twice as hot as 110 in Egypt.
It's heavy.
It's fucking feels a lot.
It feels like it's sitting on your head or sitting on your face.
Feels like you're being pressure cooked.
Yeah. It feels like it feels like a big fat sweaty sumo wrestler sitting on your face. Yeah. That's what it feels like.
It's too humid. It's just too damn humid.
Like you can't breathe.
Yeah. Now I've kind of gotten to where I can tolerate it. I tolerate it, I think, better than Jenny.
I tolerate it because I have to. But like I said, I was born here. I was born in Daytona Beach. I hate it. I hate it.
I tolerate it.
I hate it.
I don't enjoy it, but I do tolerate it. And a lot of times we spend a lot of the summer in the air conditioning. So we don't have to be out there in it a lot. Not during the daytime. Which makes it easier to us because I'm retired, and then she works indoors. I'd be working indoors at my age anyway. But I'll work out in here. You know, we got air conditioners. Fucking now, look, we've lost our air conditioning before for about a week at a time. It's fucking unlivable in here without air conditioning. The houses aren't designed to exist without air conditioning. There's not enough airflow. The windows are too small. There's not enough windows. And
even if you open the windows, it wouldn't make any difference.
The humidity seeps into all the carpets, and they start to reek. No matter how clean the
like
carpet
a day or
was,
two later,
everything starts to reek.
Everything smells like a wet dog.
Yeah, and
then it starts to smell like mold. And a wet dog.
Mold very quickly, and it's bad. But that's why the old houses here were Victorian plantation style houses where they had windows that were also doors made out of glass that went from the fucking tops of the fucking ceilings all the way down to the floor, and you could walk out on these decks, and each fucking room had 7 or 8 of them, at least 5 of those fucking glass doors. So what they would do is they would open every fucking door in the house, and the air would just blow right through. And then eventually they had electric fans, and then they started putting things like screens. But before screens, they just opened all the doors and the windows, and then they had a fucking canopy beds where they put a net over the fucking bed. So they were sleeping outside, basically.
Yeah.
Shit had fucking come in, bats had come in, fucking shit flying around in the damn house.
Cockroaches,
fucking everywhere. And that's just the
lizards,
way it was. Yeah.
Snakes.
And it was like that. It was like that all the way up until the 60s. Because air conditioning really is a thing of the 60s.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Those people must have smelled so bad.
In Mississippi, I can remember being in the 70s where your air conditioning was basically window units. And really it would only be cool in 1 or 2 rooms. Because most houses could only afford maybe 1 or 2 window units. And they pulled a lot of fucking...
I've said before, I grew up in my grandma's house. Yeah. Her house was built in 1958 with 0 air conditioning.
Yeah.
They had a window unit put in later, which was in like the dining room area, like right by the kitchen. In the summertime, everybody had to sleep in the living room across from the dining room where the window unit was. You couldn't sleep in the bedrooms in the back of the house. It was too hot. It was like sleeping in an airless, wet hole.
Yep. I remember visiting my grandma when I was a little kid in Mississippi. And Mississippi is not as hot as Florida. It's hot, but it's not as hot as Florida. And I'd spend a lot of times, I was about 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, sometimes 5. I spent a lot of the day in her bedroom standing in front of the damn window unit.
Yeah, I did that too when I was a kid.
Breathing that
You had to
cool
stand
air
you used to just stand right in front. I used to stand right in front of the air conditioner.
Yeah, just eating it up. Yeah, she'd be in the other room.
Please.
She'd be in the other room.
I'm dying.
She'd be out in the fucking living room or the fucking den, watching Price is Right and all her old lady fucking programs.
Oh my god, my grandma.
Like it was in the middle.
My grandma used to do that too.
Yeah, your grandma listened to Price is Right.
I miss my grandma.
And Let's Make a Deal and all that shit. And I could hear her in there, and she'd be reading the National Enquirer and shit. Like
my grandma didn't
like
read
it's
the
news,
National Enquirer.
like it's news.
But she loved Price is Right.
Yeah, and then she'd be watching. She'd be reading girl porn, like girl porn back then. It was those romance novels. She'd have whole stacks of them damn romance novels. Fucking remember those things?
Yeah.
With the little Harlequin romance novels and shit.
They still have.
Yeah, she'd have a bunch of those. And and I'd just be fucking standing in front of that damn window unit. But she was hardened to it.
My grandma was the same.
Yeah, they're
well, because I used to ask her all the time because, like I said, they moved down. She's from Tennessee, and her husband, who he came down to work for NASA, and they moved down in 1958, and they had their house built in Holly Hill, which is like a suburb of Daytona Beach, a little bit inland, and they didn't have any air conditioning for years, and I was like, "How did you live? How did you do it?" She's like, "I don't know. We just got used to it. We used to." She's like, "We used to sit outside most of the time.
Yeah, sit outside.
Like they had a big ass porch, and they used to drink iced tea and shit like that." She's like, "Oh, and sometimes we would take the box fans and we'd put them in the window and put a bowl of ice in front of the fans
and a wet towel."
And wet towels, they would do that too.
They did all kinds of crazy shit. Me and Jenny tried that when the air conditioner went out at the old place. It didn't help.
Not really.
Nah, shit don't help.
I mean, it's probably better than nothing, but...
Yeah. They were just they were hardened to it because they didn't grow up around air conditioning.
But man, my spoiled ass, I don't want to
we're being asked. I thought Texas was hot.
We got lots and lots of questions that were behind that.
Okay. Adriana says, I thought Texas was hotter than Florida. It may be, but heat doesn't matter. What matters is the humidity. Okay? If the humidity approaches 100%, you can't sweat. So 90 feels like a fucking sweltering hell. Anything above 90.
Because you feel like you feel like you can't get any oxygen.
Like you can't breathe and you can't sweat.
Everything is like thick. It's like everything is like it feels like wet, hot things like pushing into your face.
In the dead of summer, it can get about 100 and something degrees here with 100% humidity, raining every day. But that doesn't last long. Maybe about a month, a couple weeks, and then it starts tapering back off again. That shit is fucking miserable if you have to live out in that.
I would just advise, like, if you can avoid it, like, just don't go outside.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can avoid it, don't go outside in the summertime.
Yeah, not.
But the shitty thing,
for a couple months.
Well, the shitty thing about Florida is that we don't really have seasons.
Yeah.
We've mentioned this before. Like, summer is like miserable.
It's always warm.
But spring is hot.
Yeah.
Fall is hot. Even Christmas is kind of hot.
It's just not as humid.
It's kind of hot.
Yeah.
Really, if it's going to get cold, it'll get cold a couple of nights in, like, January or February.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Like, sometimes it's kind of, like, mild, but...
It'll snow here every decade or so.
I mean, every now and then, people be like, ooh, freeze warning, it's going down to, like, 30 degrees inland, like, overnight. But then by the next day, it'll be like, 60, 70 again. Yeah. You know what I mean? So... We never really have a winter. We don't really have... And I remember many times growing up, Christmas, we'd have to turn the air conditioning on at Christmas time because it was hot out.
Adriana says, Florida's like Honduras, hot and rainy. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the summer. The rest of the year, it's not that bad. It's not rainy, and it's not that hot. Not to me.
I mean, the rest of the year, it's like, it's warmer.
70,
it's
60.
warmer than I would like.
Yeah.
Because I like cool. I like cooler, cold weather.
Yeah.
The rest of the time it's like warm. It's warmer than I would like, but it's mild.
A lot of the year it's 60, 70, you know.
Well, not a lot of the year.
Yeah.
A couple months out of the year. Most of the year it's 70s or 80s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And then in the summer it goes up to 90s, 100s.
Okay.
90s, 100s. Thank you, Zach. Speaking of hair and makeup, I think the whole natural look from the 70s is very appealing for women. I get a feeling it's making a comeback at the moment. Maybe it is. It looks good on some people. I would never, like, across the board say, oh, this look looks good on everybody, because nothing does. I don't particularly like the natural look. I feel like if you're going to wear makeup, you might as well look like you're wearing makeup, because I feel like I'm not fooling anybody. It's like, obviously I have makeup on. I don't know. It's just my thing. So I kind of like, if you're going to wear makeup, at least make it look dramatic. I don't know. I like dramatic. I like high contrast. I don't really like natural looking stuff, because I feel like when I do natural looking stuff, I'm like, why even bother? I'm just like, I don't know. It just seems like too much effort for not enough reward, I guess. But some people look good like that. Let's see. I saw another thing. Oh, I'm gonna wait till Tom comes back to ask that. Gramthars says, rando questions. Are there any former viewers you miss? Former viewers we miss. I'm not really sure, because I feel like all of you guys from the live streams, most of you guys are still here, right? So I kind of feel like there's not anybody that I like really remember as being like, ooh, there's that person, and like now they're gone. Unless I'm like forgetting somebody, but I can't really like think of anybody that I really particularly miss or anybody like that. I've had a few people like kind of like huff off or whatever, but I don't really remember that much.
How long have we been streaming, Jim?
Well, we have some questions.
We have questions. I know that, but I was wondering how long we have streaming, because
2 hours and 43 minutes.
Okay, we're doing good. You want to eat?
In a little while.
Yes,
but we got some questions. Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say, well, I said thank you to Zach because he gave us a $5 super chat.
Oh, thanks, Zach.
And he said, speaking of hair and makeup, I think the whole natural look from the 70s is very appealing for women, and I get a feeling it's making a comeback. And I was like, well, it depends on what you look like. I kind of feel like I don't like the natural look, like, for myself, and I don't usually like it on other people. Like I said, if you're gonna wear makeup, I kind of look like, do makeup, man, like do a whole fucking drama thing.
Yeah.
But you know, if it works for you, then that's cool.
I'm gonna say something to Zach. Zach, he's talking about women. Okay. Zach, and for guys who don't know Zach's gay. All right. He's looking at these women, and all of a sudden he's getting attracted. He's getting ready to flip on over to the dark side. That's what's happening to Zach. No, I'm just kidding. Zach, here's the thing. That natural look from the 70s, that was young women. You look at the damn ages of those women, they're actually younger than they looked.
I mean, you have to be to pull that off.
Yeah, especially
to look good, natural. You have to be like pretty young. Your skin's real tight.
Right.
Your skin's like really clear.
Yeah.
Once you get a little bit older, that natural shit's not gonna fly anymore.
Yeah, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna look the same. And a lot of that shit, it was shot with old school fucking cameras in black and white, which is real harsh. Okay, without any kind of filters. So you're seeing a woman. She looks great. You fucking really do the research and start to see how old she is. She's 18.
Yeah.
Okay. With a good body. You take a fucking 35-year-old woman and shoot her in that same lighting and that same angles and everything, she's not going to look good. Okay. And then later on, some of that stuff that they would do in the 70s is that they would shoot it in color but with a soft filter, which is real forgiving. Which would make a woman who is nude in the poses that they're doing with light makeup, you really wouldn't see that there's makeup, but there is. Would be real forgiving. Oh my God, how natural that looks. No, it's not natural. There's a filter on that camera that's diffusing it, and there is makeup there. It's just that it's done right.
I kind of feel like
concealer and stuff.
Maybe a lot of dudes don't know this, but there's a thing where there's a big difference between what a woman looks like in photographs or movies or something with zero makeup, and what they look like with natural makeup. And natural makeup is actually quite a lot of makeup, but it's a lot of makeup meant to look like it's not a lot of makeup, but it's still a lot of makeup. If you took pictures of a woman with zero makeup on, she would look terrible.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I mean, depending on like the lighting and stuff like that.
But I do agree with you, that 70s look that they were trying to get, they called that kind of like the earthy look. It was kind of cool. The things that I didn't like about it is body hair. Nah. All right. Trim that shit. Okay. You can have hair, but just fucking trim it. Those fucking chicks were fucking bushy. Okay.
Tom don't like bushy.
Fuck no.
I'm not really a big fan of bushy. Well, like I said, if people want to do that, I'm not. I don't really I don't care one way or the other. But for me, it just seems like I don't like it because it just seems like I don't know. I don't like it.
Now, one of the things that was kind of good about some of the 70s layouts that they would do is that the women were voluptuous a lot of times. They looked within what would be a healthy weight for women. But there's also shit they're not telling you. A lot of those women had implants or silicone injections. So not all of them were as natural as you're thinking. Breast implants go all the way back to the fucking 40s. Okay, that's how far back they go. Late 40s, early 50s. A Japanese invention, actually.
Well, and back then it wasn't really, you couldn't really talk about it.
Right.
Like everybody was like, what? No, what are you talking about? These are totally my tits.
Yeah, and it came from Japanese prostitutes who trying to attract soldiers and sailors that were American guys who were stationed there. And Japanese surgeons came up with it. And they weren't implants at first. They were just silicone injections. And you can still get that in Central and South America. Just don't take fucking industrial silicone. That shit's not fucking sanitary, okay? But they were taking medical grade silicone and injecting it just with a regular syringe. Nowadays, people would their fucking hair would stand up. Why would you do that? Man, they got away with it back then. Some guys, even today, say that was really the way to do it. Because what happens is that it goes in and it makes a fucking ball of scar tissue around it and holds all that silicone in place. But you have to do it right. Those women were bound up to keep it all in place while they healed. And then once it was healed, they could take the bandages off and the silicone would be trapped inside of a pocket of scar tissue. Later on, they thought that silicone was getting into the bloodstream, which there's some controversy about that. Other people were saying no, it didn't happen. So they started to hold that into a pocket, known as an implant, a plastic bag. That way, that assures that there is no blood transfer of that silicone getting into the bloodstream, and it won't migrate over time or move around over time. That is definitely the safer way, but the original way was just to inject it straight in and just let it heal up. They still do it today in Central and South America with fucking industrial silicone, which is dangerous as shit, you can have infections and rejections because you don't know what container that shit was stored in before you injected it into yourself. They'll try to heat it up, try to kill any bacteria in it. That might work, but no, don't do it. The thing is that the reason why they eventually got rid of that is that it could be that some women were allergic to that. Because some women evidently did have problems with it, or at least they reported it. They didn't feel good. The upside to just injecting it straight in is that there's no implant. It feels natural. It moves natural. It looks like that's real boob. And you can do it in a butt, too. Downside, it might get you sick over time. That particular woman might reject it. And also, if you put it in things like asses, it can migrate. It can fucking slide down over time, especially if it didn't make it into muscle. If it's in the fat, it could fucking slide down over time and kind of end up around your ankles or your knees. So they're going with implants. But that shit's been around forever. That's what I was trying to tell you. You can see fucking photographs of some of these girls from the 50s. You go, God, those are supernatural proportions. Might not be natural.
Well, that's the thing. I kind of feel like that's the problem is that a lot of things that like dudes are like, ooh, I love that. I love that. I don't think they realize the amount of machinations that are going on behind the scenes to make that occur. That is usually not natural.
Yeah, a lot of
not times, usually.
A lot of times they were injecting things.
All the shit dudes like, that's usually like not. That doesn't happen in nature. Yeah. Not usually.
If you look at real old Playboy and real old men's magazines, some things look great, but they don't quite look right. Like, why isn't gravity taking play here? Well, the angle they're photographing her in here is hiding the fact that she's got a bunch of tape on the other side of the boob, pulling it
Well,
up.
yeah. Well, in the photograph, too, there's like,
They used to do that.
Well, they still do that.
They still do that. They'll tape it on the other side.
Nowadays, they probably do that, and then, like, they Photoshop it. Like, now we have Photoshop.
Tape out.
So you can fix everything. You make everybody's thighs look thinner.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, everybody's got a thigh gap. No, they don't. They did that in Photoshop.
Right.
But, you know what I mean.
But there's a bunch of old school tricks that they used.
And like I said, I think they still do that a lot of times, like, nowadays. They use, like, a lot of tape to pull back things in certain places because it makes it easier for the Photoshop artists. Being a Photoshop artist, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, if you get a good photo to start with, it's like, the less work I have to do, the better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you pull all the flesh back and all the cellulite and shit like that, then that's less less shit I have to do.
This is not confined to women.
Well, they do it to everybody.
They were doing weird shit with men. People are seeing muscle men back in the fucking 40s and the 50s, sometimes 30s, and they're going like, well, shit, they didn't have steroids back then. They had steroidal type things back then that they were getting their hands on. You can go look at Mr. Universe from the 50s, and you're seeing dudes, I'm looking at them, and they fucking got some healthy, fucking big, strong motherfuckers with fucking classic physique, what they call, which is kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger's physique, not quite that big. Arnold was the pinnacle of fucking classic physique. He was fucking roided out like crazy for his day. But you can see guys in the 50s that look like that. Arnold was emulating those guys. They were getting their hand. I'm looking at them today. I'm going, there's no way that's natural. But it doesn't really say what it was they were doing. Must have been testosterone. There must have been some kind of fucking steroidal compounds that they could get their hands on. It's just outside. It's outside. Probably steroids for cattle. Probably what they were doing back in the 50s. They must have had something. The only one you know for sure was natural was Eugen Sandow from the late 1800s, because that was before all that. But they were doing weird shit like that too, taking a bunch of damn nuts off of rats and nuts off of fucking dogs and nuts that came off of fucking horses and shit, and putting that in centrifuges and trying to get fucking testosterone out of that. And maybe they used that. I don't know. They were trying. They knew what testosterone was.
Okay, so we got a bunch of questions, and I'm gonna try and give them to you in a way that will have like the shortest answer first, because I don't want you like going off on a big long answer
she don't want
and
me
then
talking.
like
She don't want me talking. Okay.
no, I'm just saying I don't want you going off on a big long answer and then like I can't answer the other ones.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like maybe this will be the shortest answer.
Okay.
Michael says, I asked this silly question of all dudes I think are interesting. Have you ever banged an Asian woman?
He's asking me?
Yes.
Dude, I lived in Korea.
Well, I've never banged an Asian woman.
Yeah, I lived in Korea for a year, man. Fucking, yeah, of course. Lots of them.
So he's banged lots of Asian women. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, they're a pain in the ass.
Are they?
Most of them.
Okay. Everyone's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, pain in the ass.
Dudes are a pain in the ass.
Yeah. most of them were professionals. You know, they're fucking ladies of the evening. They were professional entertainers.
Sure.
Down in Itaewon and fucking up on Hooker Hill and fucking Itaewon. They were great girls, really. You know what I mean? Korea assembled an army of young women to take as much money out of the pockets of American Army guys they possibly could. They were normal.
And they succeeded.
They succeeded. They went through training and got fucking language fucking training and cultural exchange
Learn
training.
how to massage their egos.
Yeah, and
girls.
the U.S. Army went in and made sure everybody. They went in there and inspected them all and tested them all the time. There was right outside and it's a nightclub. It is a nightclub environment. Behind the nightclub, attached to it, is apartments where they live in. And fucking, you meet them in the nightclub, and they take you back out there. But it's not as fun as, say, like meeting a real girl. You know what I mean? And
It's not a prostitute.
That's
like
not it's not like that. It's more kind of like they're professionals, and it's more like banging the waitress. You know. It's nothing personal. And so...
Well, it's just like a transaction.
Yeah, it's just fun.
Everybody knows what the expectations are.
Yeah. Most of them are just...
It's not like the fun thing where it's like, ooh, I'm meeting this random ass
it's
person.
not
Maybe
that.
we'll
No.
have sex and maybe
No,
we won't.
no.
Yeah, it's not...
Most of them were I guess you could say, just kind of like pleasant in the way that fucking your fucking waitress is pleasant, or your fucking
At Waffle House.
At Waffle House, you know, like that. They're cute. They were cute.
Waffle House.
They're like that, but you're not really like into them, you know. Out of them all, there was like only like a couple of them that were cool that you would like want to hang out with. Most of them didn't have a.
Like you said, it was just like transaction.
Yeah, and they had like generic personalities because that's not who they were. They were just kind of going through a generic.
Yeah, it was like their job.
That was their job. Yeah.
Yeah, that was their job.
Yeah.
Gramthars asked, I tried to answer this earlier, but I couldn't really think of anything. He asked some random questions. Are there any former viewers that you miss?
Yeah, Sandra. Where the fuck is Sandra?
Yeah, Sandra. Well, I don't even consider her a former viewer because it wasn't that long ago that she like vanished. I hope she's okay. I hope
Germans got her.
I hope she's okay.
Germans got her.
I mean, maybe it's just... I know there's a big time difference.
Sandra used to come in here and say some funny ass shit with her fucking names and stuff.
I used to love the way
she didn't get mad at me. Maybe she got mad at me. Maybe I said something and she got mad. She was like, fuck that motherfucker. Just never came back. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You do kind of like piss people off.
Fuck them.
No, Sandra was cool.
I think she's all right. Something must have just happened to her. Maybe she lost her job or something.
Well, like I said, it's a way different time zone.
Yeah.
So, you know. He also asked, what advice would you give to people who want to be YouTube influencers? Are we even YouTube influencers?
I'm not a YouTube influencer.
Is that such a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Am I an influencer? Are you an influencer? We're just providing a show. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think about it that way.
I don't think it's an
Well,
influence.
and maybe that's the advice that we would give. Don't think about it that way.
Yeah, don't think about it.
Just kind of like do shit you like.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Be yourself.
we do this because we just like to hang out on Friday night and like
Talk
drink
shit.
and talk to you guys about nothing.
Yeah.
And we're just having a good time.
Well, it's not about nothing because people.
I mean, not about nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm being I'm being hyperbolic. You know what I'm saying?
It's just the normal conversations and talking about things, and you know, keeping you guys at home relaxed and fucking so you can fucking have a good drink and sleep and you know.
One thing I would say, and this is just from not so much from my experience, but from my experience, like watching other YouTube videos about, because I watch a lot of YouTube videos researching other movies and topics that we talk about. Don't try to be a personality. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
I think you're going to go a lot farther. It might take longer, I will say that, but just be a person. Don't have like, I'm not saying don't have a gimmick. Have an angle, but don't have a gimmick.
Yeah. You gotta be yourself.
That's what I'm saying. Don't try to be like, because I've seen, I'm not mentioning any names, but I watch a lot of like horror channels, and there's a lot of them I really like, and there's some of them that I watch sometimes because they have a review of some movie that I'm interested in, like watching a review of a movie of, and I watch them, and it's very clear that they're trying to like project a persona. Like, hey, what the fuck? And they're being like really fake. Yeah. And it's like, don't do that. I kind of feel like in the long run, that's really not going to. So that's all I'm saying. Like, just do what you like. And just be yourself. I feel like it might take longer, but you'll build a bigger audience doing that than like trying to project a persona that you think people will like, because that's not going to work out.
No.
What is the hardest thing about living in Florida minus the heat? Okay, so, the heat is the number one thing. I don't know. I was born in Florida. I don't really like, and this is not across Florida because Florida's like a kind of a diverse place, but a lot of the places are kind of rednecky and are kind of like, and I'm not really into that. So I don't know. For me, that's like the hardest thing. It seems like a little bit backwards to me.
The thing is,
it's always seemed like kind of backwards.
I've been all over the United States, and Jenny would find that same phenomenon happening in every fucking state because she's goth.
I know.
She's goth.
So it's always seemed backwards.
You could go up north and hang out in Massachusetts. I lived there for fucking 5 years, and you'd have that same experience once you got outside fucking the city and got.
Yeah, I know that.
It's like that everywhere. So it's not.
It's not Florida specific.
It's not
just
Florida specific. That's everywhere. It's like that. Besides the heat, Florida's easy living compared to say like California's and Boston. That's fucking cutting edge. It's the difficulty is a lot higher because you need a lot of money to survive there. So you have to make a bunch of money. It's not so much like that in Florida. Florida is still the South. There is a place for every budget. You might not like that place, but there's a place for every budget.
Might be full of roaches.
Might be out in the middle of fucking
like
nowhere.
My old apartment was.
Yeah.
In Winter Park.
Right. Or it might be out in the middle of nowhere.
Or it might be out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And also full of roaches.
Yeah. Some trailer full of roaches out in the middle of nowhere. You know, well, shit.
Pretty much everything in Florida is full of roaches. Yeah, not gonna lie.
This place isn't full of roaches.
I'm just saying, like,
they can get you anywhere.
It's hyperbolic. Yeah. I'm making a joke. It's hyperbolic.
Yeah. But no, I clean this motherfucking place. If there's roaches in here,
even if you clean it, like
they're constantly trying to come in.
They are. That's what I'm saying.
This is not a civilized place. No matter where you are. Well, once you're outside of
nature is encroaching.
Nature is trying to come in constantly. Sure. Like I got to go out there tomorrow. This is a fucking nice neighborhood. Okay. I got to go out there tomorrow. I just remembered it and put the ladder up the side of the house because the air conditioning vent, not the air conditioning vent, the dryer vent has a fucking bird's nest in it.
Is it woodpeckers?
I don't know. I just see the fucking
because
it's open and there's fucking
the last
bird.
Couple days, some motherfucking woodpecker has decided.
He's a peckerwood or a woodpecker?
He's gonna peck on the side of the house.
Some kind of bird nest in there.
It must be a woodpecker. Don't kill them though. Okay, what I found if it is woodpeckers.
Yeah.
One thing I learned. Two things I learned. One thing, they don't like wind chimes. So if you put up wind chimes, they don't like that sound. So they might like fuck off. And another thing, because remember I said I heard a woodpecker like pecking at the house.
Pecking on the house, yeah.
And you were like, well, they're not pecking into the wood.
No.
They're just like pecking on the thing. It's a mating call.
Yeah.
So they're not like trying to get into your house or nothing like that. They're just like kind of pegging like, hey ladies, like here I am or nothing like that. But it is like really, really loud. So I have heard that doing that. Also, they don't like shiny shit.
Yeah.
So they said if you see like houses in like that have like like old CDs, like strings of them, that's why. Because woodpeckers don't like that because they don't want people like doing that shit to their stuff. But don't kill them and like don't like fucking, because I would feel bad if that happened. But what was something else I wanted to like answer up here? Michael says I drink during the show like you guys do. LOL. Yeah. Okay, well yeah, we all do. Don't we all? Adriana says, Ryan Hollinger and you guys are the best horror channels on YouTube. Oh my god, I love Ryan Hollinger. He is cute as shit.
I've never seen that one.
He's an Irish guy.
Yeah.
And he puts up probably like a video a week, maybe 2. And I love that he just picks a movie at random. He doesn't really seem to like give a shit about what's popular or whatever. It's just like whatever he likes or whatever he wants to deep dive into. And he'll usually do like a half hour or 35-minute kind of deep dive into the movie, why he likes it and stuff like that. But I really, really like him.
My favorite movie reviewer is fucking Shitcase Cinema. That's the name of the channel. Johnny Shitcase. He's a British guy.
Yeah, he's
funny as fuck.
He's funny also.
Really good writing, and he'll like do old Seagal movies and shit.
Well, that's where you found out about Neil Breen.
Yeah, Neil
because he's
Breen.
Done a bunch of Neil Breen movies. Yeah. He does shitty movies.
Yeah, just shitty movies. Shitcase. It's not a showcase. It's Shitcase Cinema. Go check out fucking Shitcase Cinema and go look at some Neil Breen reviews. And fucking,
I think the last one he did was Neil Breen. Or no, the one before that I think he did was Neil Breen.
He's a fucking British classic. That dude is
He doesn't
fucking
put up
funny.
many videos anymore.
No, he doesn't.
Like he only puts up maybe one every couple months or something.
But he's got hundreds of them up there.
But he's super funny.
Yeah.
He's a writer also.
Yeah, I'll make him a fucking honorary Southerner. Honorary Southerner.
He's hilarious.
That's how funny he is.
But I love him.
Yeah.
I love Ryan Hollinger. I love Brandon Tenold. He's Canadian.
Yeah.
And he puts up a video once a week. And he usually does shitty movies too. Or shitty movies are like cult movies.
Yeah.
He does a lot of Godzilla films, like a lot of Japanese films, but he does like a lot of like weird ass. What was the one he did the other day that like he did a movie the other day. What was it called? Zero. What the fuck was that thing called? It was called Zero something. And I had never heard of it, but it was Japanese, I think, but it looked fucking crazy. And Tom was like, we need to watch that movie because that looks fucking epic. It did. He finds like the craziest fucking shit. Craziest fucking shit.
Yeah.
But he's done some like shit that we've covered as well. Like I think he did The Gate, you know, like that Canadian movie, and he's done movies we've talked about. But he usually kind of tries to go like real deep and find like some weird like cult ass shit. And he's a real big MST fan, so he does sort of like a riff style commentary, like where he'll show like kind of clips of the film and like does jokes over them. But he's like real funny. I like him as well. Oliver Harper is also really great.
Yeah, he's good.
But I kind of feel like he's pretty well known at this point, like right, because he's made like documentaries.
So is that the last question?
I don't know. I was like way behind.
Good.
Sharks, snakes, assholes with eco. Yeah, okay. Small town Florida pickup truck drive around Friday, Saturday night. Every truck is higher, bigger. It has larger tires than the one before.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so the penises are just getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah. The trucks are getting bigger and the dicks are getting smaller and smaller.
I mean, I
laugh at the fucking things.
I always kind of wanted like a. I mean, I probably thought I would have got shot like when I was a teenager, but it did occur to me. I was like, oh man, I always wanted like a bumper sticker that said the bigger the truck, the smaller the dick.
Yeah.
But I figured I'd probably get shot.
So. It may not be true, but the motherfuckers are acting.
They're compensating for something.
I don't understand it, man. It's like I'm driving down.
They're compensating for something.
We're on the edge of the city. We're not out in the middle of the country. Fucking, we'll be heading towards the club. It's fucking dark, fucking country road, and it's like a motherfucking UFO coming in the oncoming line. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? And it passes you, and it blinds the shit out of you. I mean, they have enough fucking lights on the front of it. It's like fucking 5 daytimes. All right, you could get a sunburn on this bitch. It's coming at you, and when it passes you, it's like fucking 3 stories above you. What the fuck was that thing? Is it Gwen?
Why do you need that?
Yeah, you don't. Well, it doesn't have anything to do with need.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's exactly the point that I'm making.
It's
exactly the point that I'm making.
He wants to be taller and higher and bigger and heavier and fucking brighter than everybody.
And see, that's the problem right there.
That's what it is.
My whole thing.
My shit is taller than yours and bigger and heavier and fucking more lights. You know, I want more. You know, which I can kind of understand it.
Good for you.
But there's diminishing returns. You know what I mean? There's diminishing returns.
And for people like me, how that's going to read, the more you kind of have more of that kind of stuff, people are going to think, well, that person obviously has some inadequacy issues in some area.
There's a ladder coming down. When they open the fucking doors, they come down a ladder. It's like straight out of something out of that Mad Max Fury Road. It's what it's like. They're like that.
Which, how badass can you be? It's like, I'm going to come down to this truck and kick your ass. Wait a second.
Yeah, I got to come down my ladder. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just wait for you to come down then.
Just nothing practical about it at all. They go, well, this is my mud truck. But they don't take it mudding. They don't go into a big mud pit and drive it around. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and go to Florida mud truck event, and you'll see a bunch of fucking crazy rednecks and gigantic fucking trucks, with monster trucks, with half naked redneck girls with their asses fucking hanging out, dancing on top of those things to rap music. You would think rap? Yeah, the country's fuck. They listen to rap. They fucking love rap. I was at the fucking biker bar, and they had those dudes in there, and they fucking requested some songs, new country music that is rap. I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't remember the names of the band, but new country sounds like rap.
Well, that makes sense.
It sounds like rednecks rapping with country music and shit.
That makes sense. That seems like a natural progression.
That's how it's progressed. Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I remember shit, like in the 90s and the 2000s, you had, like, rock music, or, like, rock music that was old at that time, like classic rock, kind of crossing over with rap, so or hip-hop, so I kind of feel like that was, like, a natural progression. Yeah. At that time, like, new country kind of sounded more like pop music.
Yeah. Like Billy Ray Cyrus and shit.
Yeah, like crossbred with country, which was also horrible.
Yeah, horrible.
But...
Terrible.
I like old country. I like Johnny Cash. I like that, like Hank Williams. I like that kind of shit.
What's her name? Who did fucking
Who? Dolly Parton?
Yeah, she was good. Fucking the girl who did fucking Ode to Billy Joe. What was her name? Fucking shit. She was fucking hot. Girl from Mississippi. Oh fuck.
What are you leaving me for? I don't know.
You don't remember her name? Okay.
No. Look it up. You got Google.
Yeah. I got it.
I don't know why you like
what was that girl's name?
Ask everything. I don't know. But it's just kind of like that shit was good, but once it's kind of started to try to like cross-pollinate with other genres.
Gentry.
Oh, okay.
Bobby Gentry.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I never would have remembered that in a million years. But, so I like a lot of the old shit, but when it tried to start going like mainstream or become like kind of cross-pollinated with more mainstream genres, at that point it was just like, just stop it. It's just like you're just making those terrible genres worse.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not 100%,
I don't know what you're doing.
I'm not 100% sure what's his name was country. That was more like Western music actually than country. Dude did fucking Ring of Fire and
that's Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash. Yeah, I'm not sure that was country. I think it was more like just like
I mean,
Western
it's still
music.
Probably considered country, but I mean, I like that kind of shit.
Yeah,
I like
good.
that.
He was good.
And I even like newer shit that like homages that kind of shit. Because look, one of my favorite musicians in the whole world, Nick Cave, he fucking loved Johnny Cash. He covered Johnny Cash songs. Johnny Cash covered one of his songs.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the movie scores that he did later on were very kind of like Western inspired. I love that shit. Yeah. That's great. But don't try to make it like pop music, or don't try to make it like hip hop, or I don't know, you're just like making it worse than all. I don't know. I don't know. I don't love it.
All right, Jen, I think we ought to shut it down.
All right, I had some.
It's getting late.
Oh, Michael says next movie you guys should watch is Bad Lieutenant. You know what I mean? Bad Lieutenant. Okay, Bad Lieutenant.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
It was actually in the poll.
Yeah.
Last week or the week before, but it didn't win. Yeah. But it's on Tubi or something like that, so it's in there. So we'll probably like do it pretty soon, like in the next month or so, because I do actually want to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a long time. All right, so we're starving.
Yeah, gonna get something.
All we've had today is some baba ganoush, and that was about it, from those eggplants that we grew in the backyard.
I want to go.
All those million eggplants. So we're gonna go get some food. Hopefully you guys do the same, or do whatever it is you're doing, whatever time it is where you are. So thank you for dropping by and hanging out with us on this Friday night. Hopefully you have a lovely weekend up ahead. We will see you guys on Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be talking about another movie, probably the first Godfather, because Louis sent us the Godfather trilogy. Oh, I wanted to say too thank you to Miguel for sending us a PayPal donation. So I wanted to make sure I got that in. But yeah, so Louis sent us all the Godfather movies, so we're going to be watching those over the weekend. So we'll probably talk about the first one on Sunday. So hopefully we'll see you guys then, and we'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.